today's coverage of the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway for this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race and the last NASCAR Cup Series race we will see for a few weeks here on the channel, and that is because Easter next Sunday, the Cup Series will be off. More details on that, obviously, for next weekend because there is still NASCAR going on with the Truck and Xfinity Series races at Rockingham, but again, no Cup race. And what better way to leave off than at the Bristol Motor Speedway? We should have a pretty good one in store for today. Tire fall off is going to be huge on not only the strategy side of things going into this race, but also what it is going to look like throughout the course of this one. Major tire fall off in practice yesterday, just like we saw in the spring race and practice session last season. Denny Hamlin went on to win that race, so may he be the favorite here today. Another one of the favorites, Kyle Larson, pulling triple duty this weekend. Big story coming in, obviously. Finished second in the truck race on Friday night. Yesterday afternoon in the Xfinity Series race, he ended up finishing with a race win. Led 277 laps out of 300. Today's race, he starts third. Hamlin starts fourth. It's going to be fun to watch those two battle from the beginning to the end of this race, assuming they stay out of trouble. There will be other heavy hitters into the mix, I'm sure, as far as the race win goes as we carry on through the 500-lap race. As we get into the pre-race coverage side of things, I'll go more in detail with my race picks as far as who I think is going to run well and not run well for this race. And before we get into that, we have NASCAR trivia, as we've been doing all season long. For these NASCAR Cup Series races, we go live a half hour to 45 minutes before the drop of the green flag. So as a part of our pre-race for this season, we have been doing some NASCAR Sporkle trivia quizzes. And this week's quiz, we have NASCAR Cup Series pole sitters. Any driver who has qualified on the pole in the NASCAR Cup Series in history, minus any driver who has one pole. And the reason why on this list it says that there are over 200 pole sitters in NASCAR history, the reason why there's only 170 on this list is because they eliminated anybody who had just one pole. So that's going to be a little tricky for us because I definitely know of drivers who have qualified on the pole. But if they fall under the category where they've only had one in their Cup Series career, they're not going to be on here. So 2 or more poles in the NASCAR Cup Series. It gives us the amount of poles that they have and the amount of overall NASCAR Cup Series race wins that they have to try to help us along the way. We'll see what we can do. 140, excuse me, not 170. So 140, a little bit easier. We'll see how many we can get. 15 minutes, not a lot of time. Usually we get 20 minutes for these kinds of quizzes, but I think because they eliminated everybody with one pole, not going to have that on here, I guess. You can play along in the chat. Don't Google it, but we'll see how many we can get collectively. The goal, at the very least, to get above average score, which we've done every single time this year. We came close last week to not getting average, so best be on our A game today. I feel ready to go, though, for this one. And we're going to start off with Richard Petty because he's obviously on here. Most polls all time. David Pearson is going to be second most all time. 83 wins. That would be Waltrip, I think. If I could spell. Daryl's got 84, my bad. So Jimmy Johnson would be Bobby Johns. There we go. Oh, Jimmy's way lower on that list. I see a lot of guys with over 80 wins in their career. Yarborough. Allison. 82. Jeff Gordon's going to be up there. Oh, man, it doesn't have... When did this stop, then? It says Jeff Gordon's got 82 wins. He's got over 90. 94, I think. Oh, last updated February 16th of 2017. That is why Jeff Gordon's only got 82 wins. So that's a skewed stat there. 44 wins all time. I guess we can't really look at that anymore. Bill Elliott's close to that. Okay, so Bill Elliott is exactly that. Hamlin. Yeah, Hamlin only had 15 career wins at this point. That's crazy, considering now he's got well over 50. Harvick. We're still going to continue on with this quiz, regardless. We got the Bushes. Ryan Newman, he's got a lot of pulls. 46 on this list. I think he has 49 or 51, somewhere around there, so it doesn't even have all of those. Well, actually, his last pull, I believe, was the Brickyard 420. Geez, what year did he win that? 13 or 14? All right, anyway, Jarrett. Got Ned, Dale, Martin. Mark Martin's up there. I'm just trying to think of who else is going to have a lot. 37, Kenseth? Obviously, he's on the list. Only 4 pulls for Matt Kenseth. Wow, that's very few. While I'm on it, I'll put Greg Biffle on the list. Edwards. Nabbing all the Roush guys. Reagan. Nope, David Reagan does not. Bowman is probably not on here because this quiz was last updated in 2017. And he would have had one at Phoenix in 2016, filling in for Dale Jr., but they have to have 2 or more polls to be on this list. So only one at that time for him. Larson's going to be on here. Blaney's on here. Logano. Logano's not on here? No way. Wow. So Joey only had 1 pole by this time? It would have been Bristol in 2010 because I saw that in my... He had to have had more than 1 pole by 2017. Like, he was with Penske for a while after that. I think he should be on this list. I don't know. Keselowski is not on the list either. What? What are we doing here? I'm confused. Boyer's going to be on here. But then again, if Keselowski and Logano aren't, who else isn't? Danica's only got 1, so she's not going to be on here. Stenhouse ever have more than 1? No. Busher? Probably not at this time. Almirola? We've got some NASCAR greats we obviously haven't put on here yet. Fireball Roberts, Joe Weatherly. Liddy Pond, Sterling Marlin, McMurray. Well, Jamie, baby. All pole winners, yeah. Santiago Kid, Deadlebug 5, welcome to the stream. Byron is not going to be on here because this was last updated. What? Oh, Red Byron. I was wondering. Yeah, William Byron's not on the list. You have to have 2 or more polls, and it was last updated in 2017. Had I known it was that far back, I probably wouldn't have clicked on it, but we were already a couple minutes in by the time I figured that out. Is it Bristol polls? No, it's any Cup Series polls. All-time Cup polls. Vickers. Nemechek. Don't call him Front Row Joe for nothing. Hit 10 of them. Schrader. Gant. Earnhardt. I don't know how I didn't name him yet. Casey Kane. Mayfield. Sadler's probably on here. He's got 8 poles. Elliott. Got Jarrett, Ricky Rudd. Irvin. Got the Allisons already. Coolwicki. Wow, Alan Coolwicki had 24 poles. He only had 5 career wins, but 24 poles. That's a lot for as few wins as he had. Jimmy Clements. Welcome to the stream. Patrick Shadley, welcome. I do think I put Hamlin already. Yeah, I did. Stewart. I did not. Labonte. I did not. It's amazing that Terry and Bobby had almost as many poles and wins. One apart in both categories. Literally equals. Terry's got one more championship, though. Jimmy Spencer? Yep, Jimmy's got 3. Got the Bush brothers already. Scott Riggs have more than one? Okay, he did. He had 3. I definitely remember he had at least one. David Rudiman? David Rudiman had more than one. Menard? No, he did not. Okay. Well, I would have got Robbie Gordon already with putting Jeff Gordon on the list. Still a lot of old names. AJ Foyt, Andretti, Montoya for the road courses. Well, Pappas and Fellows and those guys, those road course ringers. No, it's probably all in the Xfinity series. Stenhouse might win today. He's a good dark horse pick. Jeff Green, maybe. Yep. Skinner, definitely on here. Mike Skinner. I do have Kenseth already. Ambrose, probably? No, Ambrose did not have more than one pole. Casey Atwood has at least one? Only one, okay. Got 58. We got to get at least average. We're not even halfway there yet. That's not good. Lots back. Speaking of old timers, there we go. Charlie's on here. Said, good pull. Wallace, oh my gosh, I forgot Rusty. Kenny's on here. Mike probably on here too, maybe. Ty Gibbs is another good dark horse for today. Tim Gee, welcome to the stream. Stu, welcome. The other one with 49's bothering me. Bobby Hamilton. Pete Hamilton's going to be on here too. Nope. I got Pearson. Shepard, Morgan Shepard. Trevor Bayne? Probably not. No. I know I didn't put him yet. Burton. Ward and Jeff. I got Mark Martin. See if there's any names in the chat I haven't put yet. I got all the names that were said in the chat. Oh, Baker. Jeez. Fucking buddy. Regan Smith, maybe? Oh, wow. Jack Smith. All right, there we go. Basic last name. Got that one. Tim Richmond? Ooh, there we go. All right, guest, welcome to the stream. Those of you just tuning in, we got 3.5 minutes. Anybody who's ever had 2 or more Cup Series polls from 2017 and prior, specifically February 2017, so it's really 2016 and prior. A lot of big names I'm obviously leaving off. Definitely not one of my best quizzes that we've done so far. I've got Ricky Rudd. I got Biffle. see. Who have I not said yet? I went all over the map, and that really bit me. I did the same thing last week, too. Is there a Jackson? Nope. Thought I could get lucky. Not time for that yet. I do have McMurray. Sorensen on here? No. Stremy definitely isn't, yeah. Sorensen only had one then. Got Stewart. Bodine. Hornaday, maybe? No. Quaffle? No. It's just over 2 minutes. Oh, Truex. That would have been a big one I would have left off. Yeah, thank you for that. Look at the diecast. Dylan. Oh, Austin only had one at this time then. Would have been the 500. Let's make sure I didn't forget anybody. Suarez. No, this was start of 17, so he's not going to be on there. Parnelli Jones. Gilliland. There we go. McDowell? Nope. Got Casey Kane. Race starts just after 3. No, not Sheldon Creed. Braden, welcome to the stream. Hut Strickland, yes. No, he is not on here. He must only have one or none. Some guys on here have never won a race. That's going to be tough. Dan Gurney. Nice pull. He's got 5. Well, 5 wins, 3 pulls. I do have Sterling Marlin already. There's going to be some big names on here. I'm prepared for it. We got 78 of 140. Just over 30 seconds. I know we can get a couple more. Maybe. Rexford? Nope. Oh, man. Eunuch? Oh, man. Craven? Yep, there's at least another one. Andretti. Oh, no, I already got Andretti. Is there a Franklin? I do have Edwards. Oh, we're out of time. Bobby Isaac, 49 pulls. Man, he's up there. Herb Thomas, 39. Tim Flock, Rex White. Yeah, there's a lot of big names. We usually have 20 minutes for these quizzes. A lot of those names I definitely would have gotten on other quizzes we've done. Marvin Panch, Dick Hutcherson, Neil Bonnet, Benny Parsons, Speedy Thompson. Curtis Turner, Dave Marcus, Glenn Wood. 14 pulls for Glenn Wood. Wow. Art Watts. I don't think I would have came across that name. Billy Wade, Jim Reed, Tim Pistone, Ted Musgrave, 5 career pulls. That's a shocking one with no wins. Ralph Moody, 5. Dick Linder, 5. Herschel McGriff, 5. Bill Amick, 5. Eddie Pagan, Tiny 1. Bob Welborn, Paul Goldsmith, Daryl Deringer, Leroy Arborough, Cotton Owens, 10. Jim Pascal, Dick Rathman, James Hilton, Rick Mast, 4. Frank Mundy, 4. Steve Parkhead, 4. Gober Sosebee, 4. Johnny Allen, Loy Allen Jr. had 3. Wow. Ron Bouchard, Joe Eubanks, Kenny Irwin Jr. had 3 pulls with no wins. Banjo Matthews, Casey Mears had 3 pulls. Jimmy Pardo, John Kuiper, Joe Ruttman had 3. Johnny Benson had 2. Bob Burdick, Stacy Compton had 2 pulls. Bob Block, Billy Carden, Friday Hassler. Never heard of that guy. No wins, 2 career poles for Friday Hassler. What a name. His first name is Friday. I've never heard of this guy. Usually there's some names that I've heard of since we've been doing these quizzes. Based off the quizzes alone, that's a new one. Friday Hassler. That sounds made up. When did he race? And Tommy Irwin, Ken Rush, Greg Sachs had 2 poles. Gwen Staley. That's a name I have not heard in a long time. Doug Yates had 2 poles. Manuel Zervakis had 2 poles. John Sears. You need to look up Friday Hassler. Who is Friday Hassler? I have not heard that name ever. Friday Hassler. I'm Googling it right now. Oh, he passed away in a racing incident too. 1972. Which was right at the modern era beginning. Oh, wow, at Daytona. Yeah, he's got 2 career poles, 48 top 10s, no wins. His first career race was the 1960 National 400 at Charlotte. Best career finish 16th in 1971. Ran 135 races over his 10 years in Cup. Last race, 1972, Winston Western 500 at Riverside. And passed at Daytona in a racing incident later that year. So it was probably the summer Daytona race, if I had to guess, of 72. Granted, it doesn't say he was in the race, so it might have been the lead up to it. But yeah, I've never heard of him. Raymond Lee is his actual name. Friday is his nickname, but I guess he went by Friday Hassler, considering that is the name of this. But yeah. You learn something new every day. I've never heard of him. We've been doing these quizzes during rain delays for the last couple seasons, and obviously every stream on the Cup Series side so far this year. That's the first time I've ever heard of him. You'll learn something new every day. Yeah, I had to look that one up, just the name alone, but I've never heard of him, so. All right, 56%. We barely got the average score. That's 2 weeks. We've almost missed average, but we're still 100% on that clip, and we did get 100% twice so far this season as well. So, more quizzes next time. Going to be a couple weeks because, again, the Cup Series is off next week, but we will have it again at some point sometime soon. Time to highlight who I think is going to run well and or not run well for today's race at the Bristol Motor Speedway, the Food City 500. I'll throw the point standings on screen here for a sec. Actually, I throw the starting lineup on screen, at least the top portion of the field. And I'll go in depth for who I think is going to not finish well and or finish well, run well, maybe compete for the win in today's race. Highlight the Fantasy League along the way. If you're not already in our Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website and or the NASCAR mobile app, be sure to join. You got a chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season. If you win our league championship in both the regular season and or the playoffs, we have 2 separate champions. So you don't have to win them both, but one or the other. And as we go into this week, I am currently the points leader. Looking at this for the first time here this weekend. 1,596 points. Hercules Harrigan is in second with 1,578. 1,563 for Evan 4848. Monster Jam X10 in fourth with 1,552. Top 5 only separated by 65 points right now. So still very, very tight. Obviously only 8 races into the season, so the season is still very much young. And again, the NASCAR mobile app and or the NASCAR website is where you can join. It is free to join, by the way. And on top of winning the grand prize for the league championship, regular season, and or playoffs, you do have to be a subscriber of the YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. It helps us stream out a ton. if you do those two things. As far as the league series name, KRC League is the name of the league. It's KRC in all capital letters, space capital L on league. I just put the league name in the chat. And all you need is your email when you sign up as far as getting onto NASCAR.com. All right, this week, predictions. I'll start off with who I think is not going to run well. 3 drivers, big names, by the way, I have on my don't have list this weekend. William Byron looks very off this weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. Was 35th in practice overall. 26 is where he qualified. He did have a big hiccup on his qualifying lap, obviously, resulting in him qualifying 26th, but even still, not great pace in practice compared to some of the Hendrick teammates that were up towards the top of the speed charts, which I'll get to in a little bit. 17th and 35th in both Bristol races last year, 35th in the spring, and I think that's big because remember, a lot of tire fall off in that spring race, and Byron doesn't really... I talked about him, especially last week, very highly, that he's super consistent, he doesn't make mistakes, but when it comes to tire management races, I feel like Byron doesn't perform quite as well. He seems to fade on the long runs on those style of racetracks. Even though last week he had a quick car and led by far the most laps at Darlington, led the first 243. It was the long run where he was least likely to succeed. And because of the tire fall off we saw in practice this year, practice and the race last year in the spring with the cold temperatures and the track not taking rubber with these cup cars, specifically, I would stay away from William Byron. Again, Bristol's not been kind to him the last season, and I don't think it's going to be kind to him today either. That's also a guy who's leading in the point standing, so he's obviously scored the most points of anybody this year. So fantasy-wise, typically he'd be pretty good. I would rest him this week. Save any of your 10 starts that you have for him all season for another week. Tyler Reddick is going to be on my don't have list this weekend. Best finish in the next-gen car at Bristol is 15th in the 4 starts he's had so far. 30th and 20th in both races last season. Qualified 27th, right there behind Byron. 18th in practice, so better pace than Byron had. But again, long run speed was not looking good. Tyler Reddick, another driver, although he's good on the low grip racetracks, it does seem like, again, he fades on the longer run a lot when we go to those racetracks, other than Homestead. Homestead, very good for him, statistically speaking. But Bristol, not a great racetrack for Tyler Reddick in his career, really. His only top 10 finish here was actually back in 2020 in his rookie season, which was a different car and a different team, Richard Childress Racing, 2311. His best finish, again, is 15th. So stay away from Tyler Reddick as far as today's race goes. Ross Chastain, another one of my don't-haves, qualified 35th, 32nd in practice. I'd probably say he's the least likely of these 3 to get the top 10, even though I don't think any of them will. Chastain and entirely Trackhouse was very off yesterday in practice. Suarez, SVG, they were all struggling with very, very wrecking loose race cars. Those 3, and then RFK was struggling across the board in practice with grip, that they just didn't run that many laps in practice. They unloaded very, very badly. So they've got an uphill climb all starting deep in the field today. I'd probably favor RFK a little bit more because Buescher did win here back in 2022. So there's that. Keselowski last year in the spring had a top 3 run. So there's maybe more upside than what we may see out of Trackhouse Racing today. So risky starts definitely for your fantasy team for Chastain, Reddick, and Byron. So those are my 3 don't-haves. At the very least, I have them finishing outside the top 10. As far as the sleeper picks for this weekend who could upset and maybe threat to win late, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. looking very, very good this weekend. Somebody in the chat during the quiz portion of the pre-race on our live stream put Stenhouse as a very good pick to win. I agree with that. He's been very good in his career at Bristol. He said this is his favorite racetrack. Why is it his favorite? Probably because he's ran well here in the past. He's actually finished runner-up at Bristol twice in his Cup career, and the last time was in 2018 with Roush. Now, although that was a long time ago, that was also the last time he qualified in the top 5 at Bristol. So when he starts top 5 here, he has a good run. So look out for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He will be on the front row. He was fastest in practice overall yesterday, and he was top 5 in all the statistical lap average categories, ranging from obviously 5-lap average, which he was fastest there. And then the 10 through 25 lap average, he was in the top 5 also. He did not make a stint of 30 plus laps, so that's why he didn't show up in that category. But Stenhouse looks good on the short run, looks good on the long run. And I think he's going to be up towards the front of the field for a lot of this race. By the way, of the 2 runner-up finishes, that's not even counting Dirt Bristol, where he finished runner-up a couple years ago as well. So throw dirt on it, he's good here. Regular concrete Bristol, he's good here. Stenhouse is a good sleeper pick, and definitely not somebody you're going to use on your fantasy team a lot this year, so he's a good garage pick as well for today. After Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I think Ty Gibbs is going to have a good day. He hasn't finished in the top 10 yet this year, but he has been stronger the last 2 weeks specifically than when he started the season. Gibbs actually won both stages in the spring race last year, stage 1 and stage 2, and he's led over 100 laps 2 times in the last 3 Bristol starts. So last spring he led over 100 laps with those 2 stage wins, and he also led over 100 laps in the 2023 night race. He finished 5th and 9th in those 2 races as well. Ty Gibbs, very good at this racetrack. He qualified 6th this weekend. Long run pace seemed pretty good for the most part in practice. And again, he was good here last spring also. So I'm taking Ty Gibbs today on my fantasy team. I think he's a good sleeper pick as well. And I don't think I've used him or had him in our sleeper picks so far this year, again, because he's just been so bad. I think he gets his first top 10 of the season today, though. Josh Berry qualified 11th. Qualified on the front row here last year, finished just outside the top 10. He did collect quite a few stage points. And again, long run should be the key for Josh Berry. Low grip racetrack, a lot of tire fall off on a short track. You can't not go with Josh Berry, I feel like. Although he's not on my fantasy team today just because I don't have enough spots for him with who I have up there, he is still a good sleeper pick. And I think he can threat for a top 10 finish at the very least. So Gibbs, Stenhouse, and Berry, my sleepers. And my favorites for the race win today, I think it comes down to these 3 drivers. And I'd almost say Alex Bowman is kind of a borderline sleeper pick because he hasn't won an oval in the NASCAR Cup Series since 2022. But Bowman looked very good in practice and qualifying. He qualified on the pole. He qualified on the pole here last fall, had a top 10 run, finished 9th in the spring race last year with this low grip racetrack. Probably lack of rubber being laid down again for this afternoon. He finished in 4th place in the spring event last year, so 2 top 10s. One of only a few drivers to have a top 10 in both races last season. Again, I mentioned already, he starts on the pole today. Practice was looking very good. He was top 3 in the statistical lap average categories of 5 through 20, and he did not make a 25-plus lap run. And every single time he has started in row 1 or row 2 at Bristol Motor Speedway, he has finished inside the top 10. So look out for Alex Bowman. I think he's going to have a strong start today and a strong finish. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson are the 2 that I kind of bounce back and forth between on my race win pick. I was settled on Denny Hamlin pretty easily, and honestly, I think this is my most confident of my race win picks I've had so far this season coming into the race. Again, the low grip racetrack is why I have to favor Denny Hamlin here. We've seen him manage his tires well on a short track with a bit of fall off like we did a couple weeks ago at Martinsville, and I think there's even going to be way more fall off today at Bristol. He won the spring race here last season. He's proven that even with not a lot of fall off, he can win here as he won the 2023 fall race. He's won 2 other races at Bristol. Both of those races, he started inside the top 5. He starts 4th today. As far as Denny Hamlin's career statistics go, again, very good. He led 163 and 142 laps in both of his next-gen race wins here, so he should lead a lot of laps today, which will lead to a lot of bonus points with the stages. So look out for Denny Hamlin. Again, he is my race win pick. Kyle Larson, who will probably be up there contending for the win through most of the day, also very good at Bristol. 5 straight top 5 finishes for Larson coming into this race at Bristol Motor Speedway. He's led 710 laps in those last 5 races. He's led 1,261 laps in his last 11 races at Bristol, and he led 462 when he won here last fall. Though the low grip racetrack, I will say, is a bit of a concern for Larson. Last spring, he did not have a good run. So that's where I'm a little concerned for Larson, even though his speed looked good in practice on the long run through 30 laps. Everybody on the long run in practice yesterday was basically pushing as hard as they could to see what the tire fall off would be like. Nobody's really had to save any throughout the course of the weekend as far as their tires go. So I would imagine that here today that could be a little bit of a question mark for Larson specifically. He does have extra track time this weekend and a completely different set of races with the truck and Xfinity races He won the Xfinity leading 277 to 300 laps yesterday and finished second despite not leading a lap on Friday night in the truck event. So Larson, I think, is a close second, but I do think Denny Hamlin will win this race today. And this is the first time I've picked Denny Hamlin to win a race so far this year. And I did pick him to win a couple times last season, and he won in a couple of those races that I picked him to win, including the Clash, including here at Bristol, and at Martinsville last spring. He won Martinsville this year. He didn't win the Clash earlier this season, but I think he finished in the top 5. And here we are at Bristol Motor Speedway, another short track. I think he gets the win here today. He's a short track king in modern NASCAR. Him and Kyle Busch kind of went back and forth for that throughout most of the 2010s. But as we got into the 2020s, Hamlin's still performing well at short tracks, and Busch has fallen off. So Denny Hamlin is my favorite for the race win today. I think he gets his 5th win at Bristol. And you look at the tracks he's won at here these last 2 weeks. Martinsville got his 6th grandfather clock, and got his 5th win at Darlington last week as well. So tracks that he's won at a lot already. He's won 4 times here at Bristol. I think he gets number 5 here today. I had the chat shut off so I can read my notes off of my phone. So I'm going to flip the chat back on. And I'm going to see what you guys think about not only my predictions, but who you think is going to win the race today as well. Godzilla Legendary 2078, welcome to the stream. Denny, 3 wins in a row, maybe. I think so. 3 consecutive wins was races 6, 7, and 8 in the season. Here we are, races 6, 7, and 8. So if you're a believer in conspiracy theories there, or not conspiracy theories, but superstition, that would probably be a big superstitious stat to drop on you guys for today's race. I should say also the last time somebody won 3 races in a row in races 2, 3, and 4, Kevin Harvick did that back in 2018. That was when Hamlin won 3 in a row. Or sorry, not 2018. Okay, yeah, never mind. I was gonna say something about Hamlin winning 3 in a row in 2018. Hamlin actually went winless in 2018. But races 2, 3, and 4 when Harvick won 3 in a row. Kyle Busch won 3 in a row, which was races 6, 7, and 8 that season as well. Races for Joe Gibbs Racing, so there's another kind of stat line there to drop on you guys as well for the pre-race. Thanks for the mods taking care of the bots, by the way, in the chat. All right. I don't think there's anybody in the chat I haven't shouted out yet. If I haven't, I apologize for that, but appreciate everybody tuning in. Got 31 likes on the stream already. Our goal is to get to 100 during today's live commentary stream. We had over 100 for the Xfinity race yesterday, so we should get to 100 for the Cup race, but definitely be sure to hit it if you haven't yet, just in case. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Over 50% of viewers on the channel in the last 4 weeks, aka 28 days, are not subscribed to the channel. We are very close to 6,000 subscribers as well. 58 is the magic number at the start of the stream today. So we'll see if we can get 58 more. It's going to be tough to get 58, I think, today, but we shall see. Bob Kessling and Johnny Bench will be the 2 drivers given the command to fire engines for today's race. And as those engines are firing at this moment, we will go through the starting lineup for today's Food City 500 at Bristol. Over 25 years, Food City 500, or Food City, has been the title sponsor for the Food City 500 at Bristol for the spring race. We've had some classics in this event. I think we will have another good race today at the very least. Classic, we shall wait and see. Last year was definitely a different one, but I'd say a pretty good race, all things considered, despite the amount of tire fall off and the aggressiveness that we saw from it. And we should see a lot of similar action here today as well. All right, so starting lineup for the Food City 500 2025 edition will look like this. Alex Bowman will be on the pole for the 2nd consecutive time at Bristol and the 2nd time this season. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with his first front row start at Bristol, and he has finished here runner-up 3 times, once on dirt, 2 on concrete. In row number 2 will be two former Bristol winners, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, the favorites for the race win today. Larson a 2-time winner and Hamlin a 4-time winner. In row 3 will be Ryan Blaney, whose best Bristol finish is 4th 2 times, and Ty Gibbs, who won both stages last spring at Bristol. In row number 4 will be Christopher Bell, whose best finish at Bristol is 3rd, which was back in 2023, and AJ Allmendinger, who has the best Bristol run of 7th in 2022. Aspire Chevys in row 5 of Carson Hocevar and Justin Haley will make up that row. Behind them in row 6 will be Josh Berry, who was 12th here last fall, and Ty Dillon. Michael McDowell, who has the best Bristol run of 6th in 2023 on the inside of row 7, and Chase Briscoe, who finished 8th here in the fall last year. Kyle Busch, 9-time Bristol winner, 1 on dirt, 8 on concrete. Brad Keselowski, 3-time winner here at Bristol, all on concrete, will make up row 8, so definitely a prestigious row by way of this racetrack. Austin Dillon, who has the best run here of 4th in 2016, and Zane Smith will make up row 9. Zane Smith was 16th last fall. Jesse Love, making his Cup Series debut, will start inside of row 10. To his outside will be Chase Elliott, who has not won at Bristol in a points-paying race, but did win the 2020 All-Star race here. And in row 11 will be Austin Cindric, still in search for his first Bristol top 10, and Bubba Wallace, who was 3rd last fall. Daniel Suarez, who has a best Bristol run of 8th twice in 2019. He'll be on the inside of row 12 with former Bristol winner Chris Buescher. To his outside, he won the 2022 night race. Riley Herbst making his Bristol debut in row 13 alongside William Byron, who has the best run here of 3rd 2 times. Tyler Reddick inside of row 14 has the best Bristol start back at his rookie year of 4th in 2020. Eric Jones, the 2017 spring pole sitter, finished 2nd in that race. That is his best run at Bristol in his Cup career. Row 15 will be Ryan Preece, who comes into the day 13th in points. Todd Gilliland, whose best finish here is 16th. Noah Gragson, 3rd Bristol start of his Cup Series career for John Hunter Nemechek. This will be his 5th, and he has a top 10 finish here, which came last fall. Cole Custer, whose last race was in 2022 at Bristol, where he finished 8th in the night race that season, and Cody Ware, making his 2nd Bristol start, will also start in row 17. And row 18 will be SVG, first time at Bristol Motor Speedway and a Cup car for him, and Ross Chastain, who has not led a lap at Bristol, but he does have a couple top 10s, including last fall. Row 19 will be Corey LaJoie, making his 2nd Cup start of the year, first since the Daytona 500, and 2-time Bristol winner Joey Logano starts deep in the field after crashing in qualifying. Josh Bilicki, row 20, will round out the field, making his first Cup start of 2025. It'll be his 5th Bristol Cup start, though, of his career, 2nd straight in the 66 for MBM. 3 open entries this weekend, 39 cars in the field for a 500-lap race around this half-mile oval. Our stage splits today will be 125, 125, and 250 for the second half of the race, making up the finish. Temperatures up in the mid to high 50s. Possibility of getting to 60 here this afternoon. Very similar to what we had last year temperature-wise, and a bit warmer than we had yesterday, which the temps were in the mid-40s for practice and qualifying. No rain in the forecast today as well for the 2nd consecutive spring Bristol race. And for the 2nd consecutive year here in the spring, we're back on the concrete. The Brain, welcome to the stream. Go 17, leaning Preece. Hope RFK pulls it off either way. We shall see. They definitely struggled yesterday with loose race cars across the board between all 3 teams at RFK in practice, but there is hope. Keselowski finished 3rd here last spring. Preece with SHR had a top 10 last fall, and Chris Buescher won the night race here in 2022. So all with the next-gen car, they've each had their own success at Bristol. Despite the speed that they're lacking so far this weekend, you never know, they could compete. Emogene Blevins, welcome to the stream also. Go Blaney. Yeah, that's who I'm rooting for, but I think Hamlin will get the win, prediction-wise. no race team in Cup has had 2 drivers win 3 races in a row. Is that in NASCAR history? That's an interesting stat line. I never knew about that. I would imagine you mean in one season, correct? In the same season that would be the case. Troy the Great, welcome to the stream. Busch and Bowman. I think Bowman's got a really good shot to win. I think he's a great dark horse pick for the race win. Stenhouse would probably be my number 2 on the dark horse picks for a race win today. And that would definitely be the most obscure one. Only because he hasn't won on a non-super speedway in his Cup career. But again, he's finished second 3 times at Bristol. Once in the next gen on dirt, 1 or 2 of them, I should say, in the 17 with Roush. Last time with them on the concrete that he would have finished in second was 2018. But he started in the top 5 that day, just as he does here today. More on the race analysis side of things, there are 10 sets of tires for these teams today. They might be using all of them, and that's not counting the set of scuffs that they have from qualifying yesterday, so technically 11, but 10 fresh sets. I believe they have to use the tires that they started the race with today as the qualifying tires from yesterday. So 10 fresh sets throughout the course of the race. Broadcast will keep us updated throughout the course of this one. See about how many sets we have left, because I'm sure these teams are going to be using nearly every one of them. I don't think we're going to see as many cautions as we saw in the spring race last year. And the reason being is because the team should be at least more acclimated with a Bristol track like this. Last year, for this race, when we had a lot of tire fall off, it was new. Nobody expected it coming into the day and coming into the weekend. And although most of the teams might not have expected it coming into the weekend because last fall we didn't have it, at least knowing that we had a similar race here last spring, if we do see all the tire fall off we did last year in the spring race, again here this season in the spring event, I think the drivers and the teams are going to be able to adapt a little quicker as the race goes on, manage their tires more from the start of the run, because we really didn't see them start to do that until Stage 3 last year, and Stage 3 only had a couple of cautions. And we actually finished the race on a nearly 100-lap green flag run, which is why we only had 5 cars finish on the lead lap. I definitely think we're going to see a lot of cars finish a lap down in this race today. I would probably guess single digits. We'll see cars on the lead lap like we did last year, especially because we should have more green flag racing today than we did last year. We had a lot of cautions in Stage 1 and Stage 2, but I don't think that'll be the case today. I could be wrong, but again, these drivers are good. They're in the Cup Series for a reason. If we do see incidences early, I think it's going to be coming from guys who weren't in that Cup race last year, like a Jesse Love, Riley Herbst, Shane Van Gisbergen. There's a couple drivers in the field that'll be making their debut here. They might burn their tires off a little quicker than others. All right. Lights are out on the pace car. Alex Bowman, the pole sitter, outside row 1, green flag in the air, and we are underway at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Food City 500. My personal favorite racetrack. I couldn't wait for this one all day, and here we are. Stenhouse pulls into second right in front of Denny Hamlin. And Ty Gibbs trying to take a quick pace to get to the front of the field on the outside of Hamlin, just like he did last year at the start of the race where he won both stages. Though we didn't have any green flag pit stops until Stage 3 last year. We might have to this year only because of the tires. The fuel window, they can go longer than 125 laps. 170 to 180 is the estimated window, but we're not going to see anybody go that long on one set of tires all day, so fuel will not be an issue. It's going to be tires as to when these teams will pit and how many times in each stage. Every time under caution, I can guarantee you that. Gibbs has not been able to clear the 11 and Denny Hamlin on the outside, and Hamlin finally will hold on to that battle for third. Kyle Larson sneaks to the inside of the 54 for fourth. Bowman has led the first 4 laps of the race from the pole. with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. very tightly behind him. Not a big gap between first and really 10th right now, and a lot of that is because these drivers are just saving as much as they can on the tire side of things. You're probably not going to see anybody lead by a wide margin until we get 40-plus laps into a green flag run, where some drivers are just going to be racing on basically bald tires at that point. The way the next-gen car works and the tire fall we've seen at Bristol is very weird. When you see cording with prior NASCAR Cup Series cars, and even really in the Truck and Xfinity Series still, the tire will just completely blow out if it starts to cord after so long, or cord so much. With these next-gen cars specifically, and the tires that they have purpose-built for these race cars, they'll just go bald, and you're racing on bald tires, and it won't necessarily pop when they start to cord. You can lose control and spin out, but you're not going to have a blowout. So there will be some drivers trying to limp it around the racetrack as long as they possibly can, well off the pace until they absolutely have to pit. And if you see them start to limp it, you're wondering, well, why don't they just pit for fresh tires? Because if you pit under green at Bristol, you're going to lose 2 to 3 laps. Assuming that everybody else is able to stay out and go longer, and that is why we only had 5 cars finish on the lead lap last year. And that is why Denny Hamlin was the best at trying to save those tires. He was able to go the longest in Stage 3, and he got the win. Top 5 after lap 10 has Alex Bowman in the lead, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in second, Denny Hamlin third, Kyle Larson fourth, and Ryan Blaney in fifth. 6th through 10th as Christopher Bell in 6th, Carson Hocevar 7th, Chase Briscoe 8th, Ty Dillon in 9th, and Josh Berry in 10th. Again, after 10 completed laps, now 11. Ty Gibbs has been stuck on the outside of the racetrack ever since the start of the race, got shuffled out of line, finally noses his way back down to the bottom, throwing a late block at the end of the front stretch in an aggressive move to keep from losing more track position. He is in now 15th place. After qualifying 6th, minus 9 spots from the start for Ty Gibbs. 6 spots gained on the initial start for Chase Briscoe to get into 8th before settling in. You don't want to push too hard for too long to try to gain those spots on the restart before settling in, because then you're just going to burn it off on the back half. 11 spots lost for Chris Buescher off the start of the race, so he also lost a ton. He's now back to 35th. And he actually lost the most positions of any driver from the start of the race. Ty Gibbs the second most. Single file line at the front of the field. I think we're going to see a lot of lead changes in this race today as well, based off of who might end up with the tire fall off the most as the race progresses. I can easily see double-digit different leaders in this race. One so far through 16 of 500 laps, which would be Alex Bowman. Joey Logano, after damage in qualifying yesterday to the right rear of his race car, started deep, 36th place. His opening lap, he got very sideways off turn 2, snagged the wall at the right rear. Trying to settle in. He's still pretty deep in the field outside the top 30. Only a couple spots gained for the start for Logano. Currently in 34th. Check that, 33rd. It's amazing how tight-nosed the tail everybody is at Bristol right now through 18 laps. That usually wouldn't be the case, but that's why you can tell they're not pushing that hard. It's amazing also how quick they're going to get spread apart once they hit that cliff point on the tires. So although things are very tightly congested right now and there's not a lot of moving through the field, there will be at some point sometime soon. 40 laps at Bristol is not a long time. We've already seen a second of fall off from the fastest laps of the day, around that 15.8, 15.7s, and the fastest lap for a race leader that last time was 16.4. So yeah, I mean, already a second and a half a fall off in just 20 laps at Bristol. Nonetheless, that's only 5 minutes. It's quick. It's 4 to 5 minutes. Second and a half of fall off. Kyle Busch has Austin Cindric right on his back bumper. Jesse Love got shuffled out of line. The rookie's not going to have a chance to try to squeeze in between the 8 and the 2. He can kind of manage on the outside relatively well. only because drivers aren't pushing 100% down on the bottom. And although Bristol's usually a multi-groove track since their reconfiguration with now 24 degrees of banking on the bottom and 28 up high, the track not taking any rubber is going to maybe disallow for that outside lane to really ever come into play today. Tyler Reddick wrecking sideways off turn 2 that last lap. I think he had to get on the brakes a little bit harder in the middle of the corner to keep it off the back of Chase Elliott, and that caused his rear wheels to slide out from underneath him. A little bit of congestion with the tight bunched racing we see on this bottom lane of the racetrack, and Reddick only lost one spot out of that, but burning the rear tires up maybe a little more than he would have liked with that slide is probably the biggest loss he could have. We may see that here very soon. Gap between first and second is only 0.2 of a second, half a second between first and third and first and fourth. Larson trying to make a pass on Hamlin, gets to his inside. Pushing to at least try to make a pass on the 11 car. Ryan Blaney will get underneath Denny Hamlin as well. Hamlin stuck on the outside for now. Could result in maybe him saving just a little bit more than everybody else. Hamlin still staying door to door with the 5 car for the moment. Losing a little bit of time to the 47 and 48 cars in front of them with running side by side. But they're going to be working their tires more because they're having to turn it tighter to keep it off of one another, not having as much racetrack to work with, especially up off the exit of the turns. But Hamlin knows he can't just give away and give Larson that spot because he's just going to lose more positions with everybody tightly compacted to the bottom lane behind the 5. Justin Haley may be pushing a little harder. He's gained 5 positions from the start of the race, is now up to 5th as he got by Ryan Blaney that last lap under the full screen commercial break, which is currently airing on Fox Sports 1. We'll stay right here with our live commentary coverage. Lap 33 of 125 in stage 1 here today at Bristol. Alex Bowman has led every lap from the pole so far. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in 2nd. Denny Hamlin 3rd. Kyle Larson 4th. And in 5th, and actually we have a change on the leaderboard. It looks like Denny Hamlin's up to 2nd. Then Justin Haley 3rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 4th, and Kyle Larson falls to 5th. 6th place is Ryan Blaney. 7th is Christopher Bell, Carson Hocevar 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th, Brad Keselowski up to 10th. Ty Dillon in 11th, Josh Berry 12th, 13th is Ty Gibbs, 14th AJ Allmendinger, and Michael McDowell 15th. Chase Elliott 16th, Tyler Reddick 17th, Zane Smith 18th, Austin Cindric 19th, and Austin Dillon in 20th. Bubba Wallace 21st, William Byron 22nd, Kyle Busch 23rd, Ryan Preece 24th, and Riley Herbston 25th. 26th for Noah Gragson, Jesse Love 27th, Ross Chastain 28th, Joey Logano 29th, and John Hunter Nemechek in 30th. 31st is Daniel Suarez, Todd Gillen 32nd, Chris Buescher 33rd, Eric Jones 34th, Corey LaJoie 35th, Cole Custer 36th, Josh Bilicki 37th, Shane Van Gisbergen 38th, and Cody Ware 39th. Every car still on the lead lap through 37 out of 500. Justin Haley now up to 2nd place as he gets closer to our race leader, Alex Bowman. Will he try to strike and take the lead for the first time? Joe Rochester, thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted you out yet. Frank Powers, welcome to the stream as well. Many others that are watching this live commentary stream of the Food City 500 right here on KRC. Still under commercial for the moment. Justin Haley might be up the most spots from the start. Tyler Reddick is up 10 spots in 17th as well. 9 for Logano to 12 off. Outside of Keselowski for the most part last year. So I'm curious to see how, say, Team Penske does, because they struggled at Bristol mightily with this next-gen car. Despite the fact Ryan Blaney's in 6th right now. Well, we got our first lead change of the race. Kyle Larson on the outside of our leader, Alex Bowman, will take over the top spot. Larson led 462 laps here last fall, while his teammate Bowman led the first 34. Here today, Alex Bowman 5 more laps than he led here last fall. Kyle Larson checking out from Bowman with still 84 laps to go. 83 this time by in stage 1. So Larson, our second different leader, first lead change of the race. Denny Hamlin looking for third to the inside of Justin Haley. Although Haley with a quick run gets to the outside of Alex Bowman instead, and Haley's able to take over second. He should clear off turn 2. What a start for the Spire Motorsports Chevrolet of Justin Haley. Up to second place here in the early laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. 3 Chevys up in the top 3 spots, 4 of them in the top 5 with Stenhouse in 5th. Hamlin, the only Toyota, up there in 4th. Highest running Ford is Ryan Blaney in 7th. And the only other Ford in the top 10 is Keselowski in 9th. Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs are back in the top 10, 8th and 10th as well. Bowman going backwards, gets back to the inside for now. Actually, he's been on the inside. He's been getting passed on the top by both Haley, Larson, and Hamlin, who are in front of him. And maybe the pace was a little too quick for the race leader, Alex Bowman. That's the tough thing, too. When you're leading like that, you're setting the pace for the rest of the field, and they're probably able to save their tires a little more than the driver out in front in that tight line. I think that's what's burning Alex Bowman right now. Leading those first 39 laps, maybe not the best thing for him. So now with Kyle Larson having the lead, we'll see what that's going to look like. His gap over second is 1.8 seconds. His fastest lap is a 15.9. 15.8 is his fastest lap. That last lap was a 15.9, so only a tenth. And maybe we aren't seeing as much fall off after all compared to what we usually would see. Everybody was backing that pace up. Bowman was running 16.4s at one point. And the track, compared to the zero rubber it was taking during practice yesterday, again, slightly warmer temps, but the temperatures in the race today very similar to what we saw in the spring race itself last year, where it was in the mid-60s. Today, right around 60. So definitely strange. It's a weird race so far, and it's very hard to justify why that is. Well, the tires is why we can justify it, but field's definitely starting to space out a little bit more after Larson took the lead. Gap was about 7.5 seconds between first and last. At lap 37, just 18 laps later, first and last are separated by 12.5 seconds. So we will get into lap traffic very shortly, and we're still in the first half of stage 1. Syncing the TV up with me. Appreciate that. Bam Hall, welcome to the stream. Going to Buffalo Wild Wings for lunch today. That sounds delicious. My go-to wing from there is, I'd probably say Thai curry is my number 1. Asian Zing is a close second. What's your favorite wing type down in the chat? Favorite sauce on your wings? I'm also a blue cheese guy when it comes to wings. I can eat it with ranch. Ranch is good, but I prefer blue cheese. That might be the lesser of the two for most people, or they just don't like blue cheese at all, but I like blue cheese. Ranch is more for my salads. I've had blue cheese on my salads. It's good. I think I'm more of a ranch guy with salads. Wings, give me blue cheese. It's almost the same thing, only there's cheese in it. It's basically the same thing. But some people still don't like it. 2-second lead between first and second. Kyle Larson over Justin Haley, now lap 60, almost halfway through stage 1. After Haley in second, it's Denny Hamlin in third, Alex Bowman fourth, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in fifth. Carson Hocevar in sixth. Seventh for Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell eighth. Brad Keselowski ninth. Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10. So again, that is the top 10 of the leaderboard very early in this race. 16 minutes in, full screen commercial break on Fox Sports 1 yet again. That is where you can watch the race visually, but we're here all race long on KRC. Have been since 2:30, about an hour ago when we started our pre-race coverage. And we'll be live for about another 20 minutes to a half hour or so after the race as well with our post-race, so you want to stay tuned after the checkered flag falls. Brian Zantob, welcome to the stream. Turkey hunting in Florida. Every other Sunday will be fishing. Appreciate for doing the live. Yeah, I appreciate you watching while you're out and about doing your thing on the weekends. Still wanting to know what's up with the race and tuning in here for your coverage. We'll take our first break of the stream while I'm awaiting FS1 to come back from the commercial break that they are on currently. Listening live on KRC to the 2025 Food City 500. It's Bristol, baby. Ace Alshire, welcome to the stream. Chris Davis, welcome to the stream. What is KRC? It's Keegan's Racing Channel. That's why I say KRC all the time. That is on the profile icon on the channel as well. I'm surprised I don't get asked that more. Yeah, KRC. It's Keegan's Racing Channel. But I have my first and last name as the name of the YouTube channel, so it's easier to find. I feel. Well, I mean, I guess KRC might be easier because it's a acronym, but I'm also trying to get my name out there on the commentating side of things as I grow the channel, so that's why my name is the actual YouTube channel name. But I refer to KRC as the live commentary streams as if it's the channel to listen to these live races. If that makes any sense. Every Sunday. Yeah, rock on, man. So again, Alex Bowman led the first 39 laps. Kyle Larson took to the lead. Bowman fell to fourth. Justin Haley slightly closing in on Kyle Larson. The gap was 2 seconds. It's now down to 1.2 seconds. And I think that's because Larson's in lap traffic for the first time today. As Josh Balicki, Cody Ware, SVG, and Cole Custer have already fallen a lap down. Corey LaJoie's the last car in the lead lap in 35th. Chris Buescher just got tagged on the left rear bumper by whoever's behind him. There's a replay of it. Trying to bump and run. Larson's trying to get that second to upper groove working like he was in the Xfinity race yesterday. Top cuts to the bottom. That's how he's going to be able to create enough of a run to make the pass on Corey LaJoie. There were only 10 cars that finished on the lead lap in the Xfinity race yesterday, and those stages were much shorter with it only being a 300-lap race versus 500 today, so he has the ability to maybe lap even more cars, which I think he will. Again, we get a long green flag run at stage 3, I think we see single-digit cars finish on the lead lap easily. Top 5 still the same post-commercial break with Kyle Larson in the lead, Justin Haley in second, Denny Hamlin third, Alex Bowman fourth, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in fifth. Lap 75 in stage 1.
Sponsored by Chili's. Indians Carson Osavar. The 2024 Cup Series Rookie of the Year. 3 Bristol starts, best finish of 11th, and second place finish at Atlanta, the second race of this season.
Well, what's your excuse for his shield being up today, Clint?
What kind of shield up, kid? I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe he doesn't like it.
His air conditioner will work better if he puts it down.
100%.
Well, it is cool
Bristol's a
outside.
busy
So.
place. See Carson right now, and you see his lean, and you see him lean to the right. That's the G-forces from the center of the corner, and his body is straight back up. This racetrack for a driver is very, very physical.
Second place. Denny Hamlin passes Justin Haley for second, but I'm going to give some praise to Justin Haley. Great job so far. He was the one that jumped that first and took off to the front. Started 10th, got up to second.
And it definitely paid off for him from a track position standpoint. He qualified well, put himself in a position to have a good day.
Regan?
Like a driver that did not qualify very well yesterday. Bubba One started 22nd, up 9 spots to 13th. Early report from the driver. Cars a little bit too tight to finish the corners, to exit the corners. I can tell you, they had to lean heavily on their teammates yesterday. Got the 45-car Tyler Reddick thing. He was much better than they were, so things going well for Bubba. And the radios are starting to light up finally with comments about the cars. A lot of tight race cars here.
And Larson just continues to pick him up and put him down. He has now lapped 7 cars, counting Nemechek, who is 33rd. Busher, the next one ahead.
Yeah, and yesterday in practice, we saw, like we talked earlier, we saw all these drivers have so much trouble with tires. The mental side of today's game, and knowing that you're going to possibly have to run 125 laps on tires after you went through what you did yesterday, seems almost impossible. So right now, inside the car, they're feeling, well, I don't know, is that vibrating? I don't know. Is my car starting to turn? Is it? They're trying to think of any reason possible to think of something that could be wrong with the tires.
Look at this PJ1, the traction compound, if you will, starting to ball up down there on the bottom. And I think as it does that, that creates this tighter sensation that these guys are complaining about in the center of the corner, Kevin.
They did apply more PJ1/traction compound to the bottom of the racetrack earlier this morning, following the action we've already seen with Xfinity and Truck Series Racing, Xfinity practice qualifying, Cup practice qualifying. They did not have practice of qualifying Friday for the truck race. That got rained out, and obviously maybe the rain might have washed away a little bit of that PJ1 on Friday afternoon as well, compared to when NASCAR had put it down Friday morning, Thursday night, whenever they ended up doing that. So the bottom lane maybe even more grippy today than what we would have seen in the Xfinity race. Yesterday in that race, the top groove was definitely the preferred line around the racetrack, whether you would diamond cut the outside or just run all the way around the top most of the way through the corner. 39 laps to go in Stage 1, another full-screen commercial break on Fox Sports 1. The intervals between those top 5 positions with Larson in the lead is 1.8 seconds over second-place Denny Hamlin. Justin Haley 2.6 seconds back in third. Alex Bowman's 3.5 seconds off the lead in fourth, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 4.4 seconds off the lead in fifth. The only driver that did not start in the top 5 that is up in the top 5 now is Haley, who started 10th. Still up 7 spots, was as high as second at one point. Lead is pretty much fluctuated since Larson took over from 1.2 to about 2 seconds. Just depending on where he hits lap traffic and where Hamlin behind him hits lap traffic. Hamlin's still pretty consistent with running the bottom most of the way around the track, where Larson has moved up a groove when he can. So the alternate lines there, not showing a whole lot of difference. I do think the 11 and the 5 seem fairly equal on speed so far through Stage 1. It's just really where they catch lap traffic. Like Hamlin was 0.3 quicker that last lap. It's going to be about who could get track position. And the big thing for Hamlin, too, the easiest way to beat Larson off pit road is to stay close to him. Larson builds a gap between him with several lap cars if a caution comes out or the end of the stages. And the ability to be able to win the race off of pit road with a bigger gap coming into the pits is less likely for the second place car to beat the leader. That was also an advantage that Larson and his pit crew had in the Xfinity race yesterday, because he would have leads of 5+ seconds with several lap cars in between. He never had a contest on pit road. Easily able to win the race out of the pits because of having that extra bit of a buffer, if you will, in between first and second all day. Not the case here with only a 1 second gap. And still only 2.7 seconds back to fourth. Under 4 seconds to fifth. The manufacturer race here, we've got 5 Fords up in the top 10, and they're all in the top 6. Toyota has 3 of them in the top 10, 2 Fords. All 3 Toyotas are for Joe Gibbs Racing. None of the 2311 or Legacy Toyotas are in the top 10. And 1 RFK Ford, 1 Penske Ford, 2 Hendricks, a JTG car, and 2 Spire cars. So pretty even mix of Chevys up in the top 5 by way of what team is up there. Ross Chastain's up 12 positions from the start of the race. He's the biggest mover so far. 9 spots for Bubba Wallace. So some of those 2311 Toyotas who didn't qualify well are starting to move through the field. 2-second gap again for Larson over Hamlin. Larson got into the back of the 34. Todd Gilliland pretty hard. Also trying to force it 3 wide underneath both Gilliland and Eric Jones. Several laps ago, also during the commercial break, Kyle Busch had scraped the wall off of turn 2 just a bit. Further back in the field. Larson is lapped up to 28 so far, with Joey Logano in 27th as the last car currently on the lead lap. He's probably going to be tough to pass if Larson gets to him. 100 laps down, 400 to go. Stage 1 has gone caution-free so far. And still with 25 laps to go in the stage, this is actually the largest lead for Larson now, 2.4 seconds over Hamlin. Joey Logano looking to pass Riley Herbst as they are battling for 26th. We'll have a battle brewing for the free pass position then as well if they both lose their lap. Christopher Bell making a pass on Ryan Blaney for 7th on track. That last time by. So another change of position towards the front of the leaderboard. Larson up near the outside of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Gets the run. Cuts to the bottom of Riley Herbst into 1 and 2 now. Almost a second gap between the second and third place cars of Hamlin and Haley. Herbst will go lap down off turn 4. Almost a full lap for Larson to complete the pass after getting alongside Herbst. Again, that's not a long time though at Bristol. That's pretty normal. It's actually normal to stay side by side with the lap car for several laps before finally clearing them. Oh, last time Kyle Larson ran all 3 races in the same weekend. He won at Homestead in the Cup race, so that extra track time might be working wonders for him on that specific weekend that he has been doing triple duty. Reminds me so much of those Kyle Busch days where he'd do that and see him lead a bunch of laps and compete for wins, if not get the wins in all 3 series. And here we are with Kyle Larson doing the same thing. Can't tell me that doesn't help. Even nowadays with the variance in cars, especially with this next gen compared to an Xfinity car or a truck, probably more equal to the trucks than what they are the Xfinity cars nowadays by way of handling, but he didn't even lead a lap in the truck race, and he's led the most so far in this Cup event. If he leads to the end of the stage, he'll have almost 100 laps led already in the race. Haven't noticed, actually, no, we have had a change on the leaderboard in the top 10. Ty Gibbs and AJ Allmendinger had passed Brad Keselowski in the last few laps. Brad bumps out of the top 10, and now Chase Briscoe actually just passed him for 11th as well. Stage points are awarded to the top 10 positions at the end of Stage 1 and Stage 2, 1 point per position. We're seeing some good racing really going on right now, I will say. Multiple grooves, there are passes being made, which is not something we typically see with the next-gen car on these short tracks, but I'd say we're seeing quite a bit of it so far today. But yeah, the track is definitely taking rubber, which we were not expecting coming into the day, including myself. I think most people expected it to be like practice and like last year's spring race. I'm not just saying that because I expected it. I would imagine that the booth has expected it as well. Still got the same guys up in the front of the field that I was expecting coming into the race, but just a little bit difference in the way that they're doing it. Not having this be a tire management race, I think really does help Kyle Larson, because he did not run here last spring, not run well here last spring, and obviously dominated the fall race, and this is looking more like the fall race so far. Again, that last lap, Hamlin a little quicker the last 2 laps. It's just very determined on where the lap cars are being caught as to who is running quicker. Because by the time Hamlin got to second around Justin Haley, he was already 2 seconds off the lead. Cars are going to probably battle Larson a little harder to stay in the lead lap now than earlier in the stage that were in the final 10 laps of stage 1. Ryan Preece in the 60s, the last car, the lead lap. Larson almost got into the back of him, nearly missed timing his exit from turn 2 on the high side to when Preece was running the bottom and slid across his front bumper. At the very least, Preece is trying to be the first car lap down, but if Larson gets by him now, there's a very good possibility that Michael McDowell right in front of these two could go lap down as well, and Preece wouldn't be in the free pass spot anymore. Also, as he runs side by side with the 5, Joey Logano's starting to catch back up again and could battle Preece for that free pass position as well. Lead is down under a second between Hamlin and Larson. Hamlin trying to get by all the lap cars he can too so he can keep the gap tighter to him and Larson into the pits. He's got 2 lap cars between himself and the 5 currently, with Ryan Preece barely staying on the lead lap. Larson will go to the top side of the racetrack through 3 and 4 again after running side by side for a couple laps with Preece. Tried to build the momentum up. He couldn't that time. He'll go back to the top again in 1 and 2. Preece now blocks the outside. Larson cuts to the middle in the center of the corner. Again gets underneath the 60, but cannot clear. 3 laps to go on the stage this time by. Larson so close to clearing off the exit of turn 4 that time, but couldn't quite do it. And now he's clear of Preece finally off the exit of turn 2 with 2.5 laps to go in the stage. Slides right back up into the outside and trying to get a run after Michael McDowell. He'll beat the 71 to the outside. McDowell loses a lap, and now the battle for the free pass is between the 71 and the 60. 60 overdrives the corner, and Joey Logano will get underneath him now. For a brief moment before Preece is clear again of Logano. Final lap, stage 1. Hamlin's got no chance of catching Larson with the 3 lappers in between them, despite the gap being only 7/10 of a second. Preece gets alongside Michael McDowell for the free pass spot. They're side by side as they come to the line. Preece should get the momentum off the corner to get it, and I believe he did. So Ryan Preece will get the free pass at the end of the stage, but most importantly here, it's Kyle Larson, who dominates and wins stage 1 here at Bristol, just as he did last year, winning all the stages and the race in the fall. Denny Hamlin, the spring winner from last season and the fall winner from the year before, finishes 2nd in stage 1. Justin Haley, impressive early on, finishes 3rd. Our pole sitter Alex Bowman with 39 laps led 4th. Carson Hocevar got to 5th late in the stage. Christopher Bell in 6th. Ryan Blaney 7th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 8th. Ty Gibbs 9th. And A.J. Allmendinger rounds out the top 10. Again, 1 point per position through the stage for those drivers. Tim Brown, welcome to the stream. 77 needs a good pit stop. They all do. Rory's still leading the Masters, I see in the chat. Got some big names that have been up towards the top of that leaderboard all weekend. All right, so the margin between 1st and 2nd was about 7/10 of a second. There were 3 lap cars between 1st and 2nd, so that'll be the car length gap when Larson hits the commitment line at the front of pit road, which is probably going to help him, I would assume. But trying to keep the lead. Unless he speeds on pit road, which he did in the truck race. Maybe he has learned from his mistake. Pit road speed is the same across all 3 series. Just that 1 lead change, and this lap 125 stage 1 end is our first caution. So we'll have our first restart then on the back side of that. Just over a half hour into the race. That was a pretty quick first stage. With it going caution free, as quick as it can be here at Bristol. Oh yeah, I'm definitely watching WrestleMania next week. I'll miss the start more than likely on Saturday with the Xfinity race starting at 4. But no racing on Sunday, so I'll definitely be able to catch it from start to finish then. I remember last year, though, the Xfinity Series was racing at night that night, and I only caught the main event on Saturday. That was all of WrestleMania I saw for Saturday. No, I did see the opener too. It might have been the truck race then. I think I saw the opener or most of it, and then the main event, but with the live commentary stream going on simultaneously.
Is coming to Bristol. Be here or watch it live on Fox. August 2nd, the MLB Speedway Classic. Tickets are on sale now as the Braves will face off against the Reds right here in the last great Coliseum. Go to MLB.com/Speedway Classic to purchase your tickets. Jamie Little.
Like last week when Denny Hamlin won, he gave all the credit to his pit crew for stepping up when it mattered most on that last pit stop. Now this year, this team has a new front changer, and so far their chemistry has been very impressive. Let's meet Team 11.
Austin Maloney, front tire changer, newest member on the 11. Devin Euchre, rear tire changer, former Taco Bell burrito master.
Dylan Dow, tire carrier, and the best back flipper in the NASCAR garage.
Wow.
Kevin Purcell, healer.
Calling out Daniel Hemrick, I see.
My 5th championship.
Joel Guignol. I'm the Jackman, former Green Bay Packer running back, and I'm the guy with the news you've been hearing about.
Well, you've been hearing about it. I'll show it to you. Look at this. Around the back with the jack and into position, all the game fractions of a second.
I love that, Kev. I'm the man with the moves you've been talking about.
Well, his moves are winning moves, so I like that too. Confidence.
All right, let's have a look at pit road because at Bristol here, it is different. We pit on both sides of the racetrack.
Well, you see right here, you enter off of back straightaway and front straightaway when you're under green. But this pit road, when you pit under yellow, you have this corner right here, and when you go around that radius, you can up the pit road speed. So going in and out of these sections right here, on and off of that corner, allow you to take. You have to slow down and speed up. Speed up going into the corner, slow down coming out of the corner, and that's where you get a lot of speeding penalties trying to maximize that pit road speed.
Because as Larry Mack explained, it's time over distance. That's how they measure whether or not you are speeding in each one of those sections. And it's all done by computer. There's no human element involved.
No. Used to have the old stopwatches sitting up in the NASCAR officiating booth, and they decided if you were going to get a penalty or not. Today, not the case.
Or if they didn't always call Rusty Wallace's name. Well, more often than most, let's say. All right, here are our pit crew rankings.
Why are we still under caution? How's pit road not open yet?
Team at the top, led by Charles DeDike, and Denny Hamlin's team right there, led by Chris Gale. Last year's best team, Christopher Bell's, in 8th place right now, according to our rankings.
Well, it was on full display last week in Darlington, and Denny Hamlin set a free race. All the praise goes to that team effort and that pit crew.
All right, here come the lead lap cars to pit road. Regan.
Carson Hosfar in the 77 car. Very good start to the race. A little bit too tight with the front of the race car, but he can't afford to have it any looser. They did have the reins pulled back on him pretty much the entire run.
They're open now.
The 7 car of Justin Haley, just a little bit too free with the right rear right now. Not sure what to tell him otherwise. He likes it. They were being conservative in terms of adjustments. They're going to leave it alone for this next run. Jamie?
And around on the front stretch, Denny Hamlin in the 11 comes in second. He said, I'm a little tight center, but that's all I've got so far on this first run. Meanwhile, the 5, Kyle Larson started off tight, then it freed up a bit. Cliff Daniels said, what do you mean? He said, I really don't know. I don't know what to expect and how it's going to change. So no adjustments for the 5.
Now, why was there such a big gap between cars along pit road? Because there were a lot of lap cars. There were 3 between Larson and Hamlin, and there were 6 between Hamlin and Haley. And you can't close up when you all have to enter at pit road speed. Kyle Larson led most every lap of stage 1 to win it Alex Bowman led the rest.
To tell you the truth.
Alrighty, so Kyle Larson easily wins the race off pit road as expected with the gap that he had coming into the pits. We'll have to wait and see if he can dominate stage 2 just like he did in stage 1. Channel's about 20 seconds behind the TV. That's not bad. I mean, obviously at Bristol that's a little over a lap, but usually it's a lot further apart, I feel like, with YouTube to what you guys are actually watching, I guess, on YouTube, from what I'm seeing in live time. Thanks for everybody tuning in so far throughout the course of today's stream. Again, this is our first caution with the stage 1 break. We're going to get our restart in shortly. Waiting for our leaderboard to update. Ryan Preece is not in third. He had gotten a free pass with that last caution coming out. Waiting to see if anybody tried to risk it to take the wave around. I don't think they did. Preece is in 24th, by the way. So just over half the field are on the lead lap at the end of stage 1. Yeah, nothing's ever going to be synced up 100% with streaming this on YouTube. There's always going to be a delay there. That's why I advise not to spoil in the chat. You guys are usually pretty good with that, though, with not spoiling it. For anybody that may be in the chat not able to visually watch. All right, so top portion of the field for the restart, we're going to have Larson and Hamlin up towards the front, followed by Haley, Bowman, Carson Hocevar, Ty Gibbs. Quick pit stop on the 54 team. And then Christopher Bell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse loses a few positions on pit road. Falls back just a bit. Qualified on the front row today, but still up in the top 10 early. All three must-haves on the pre-race predictions are up in the top 10. Larson first, Hamlin second, and Bowman third. Ty Gibbs, one of our sleepers, is up in the top 10 at 6th. Stenhouse, the other one, at 8th. And Josh Berry, 15th, so 2 for 3 there. And all three don't-haves are still outside the top 10. William Byron, 19th. Ross Chastain is 21st. Tyler Reddick is 16th.
Expected, right? Kyle Larson rolling along, and obviously Denny Hamlin right there going for his third straight. But who else are you keeping a close watch on?
Well, the two Spire cars, Haley and Hocevar, are both in the top 5 at the end of that. But Chris, I've been saying I think it'll be a totally different race when we go back green here. The guys have learned that the tires aren't wearing like what we saw in practice yesterday. Harvick and Boyer kind of emphasized that. I think we see a totally different race when this next stage starts.
Sure, Larson and Tire, man. And thank you, by the way, for sharing this. You guys doing okay with the noise? You can hear? Okay, good. I just heard the cue. We're going back to the booth, Mike.
Thank you, Chris. Jamie? All right, pre-race. Ricky Stenhouse qualified on the outside of the front row, so he and Mike Kelly allowed us to sit in on their team meeting.
For me, just let's capitalize on today. We got a really good car, and it's the best car I've had here in practice and in qualifying in a very, very long time. We can win at these next few tracks we have coming up. So we'll go get them today.
Nobody panic, right? The car is still a car. Denny didn't start the last stage of this run last year on lap 367. He started in 15th and won the race. We have a good vehicle and a good driver, and we can do this. We talked about it enough. Let's go out there next to you, just like we have. 1, 2, 3. Yes. There's the pit crew led by Mike Kelly for Ricky Stenhouse. Tabloid the spotter up on the roof. Currently 8th. Jamie?
Listening to Kyle Larson's radio, he's led over 100 laps. Now, this is what Cliff Daniels had to tell him after those tires came off.
Tires are not look bad at all. Great, go ahead, we're in the hole. Right. Sarge, he was running.
Can you believe that you just heard that man say that after watching practice yesterday?
I can, and because of the way that the rubber, well, not after practice, but after practice, I'd have told you we were in big trouble. But when you started seeing that rubber start to lay down on the racetrack, but Larry, I would say that this is definitely the worst run that we're going to have today as far as tire wear.
Yeah, because regardless of what the track temp is, this track had no rubber on it. It's what we call green. The only thing that was on the racetrack was the traction compound in the bottom 4 feet, no rubber whatsoever. All right, we have penalties. Kyle Busch, Shane Van Gisbergen, speeding on pit road, and not in that curved section in 3 and 4, but along the straightaway, Larry told us. Boston Cindric pitting out of the box, so he will restart at the tail end also.
Well, we see it every week, we've seen that a lot in Kyle Busch's car, but talking about that speeding in the middle of pit road, and the thing that happens here, it's so easy, especially if you're in second gear with that low RPM, you're able to surge past the limiter that you have for pit road speed, and it gets real easy to get out of that box because the RPM's so low.
All right, they're coming to the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. There it is, just off turn number 4.
Yeah, I'm surprised we had 16 laps of caution for no cause of it, with it being a stage break. That was way too many. That was a very lengthy caution. It took forever to open pit road, and it took forever for everything to cycle afterwards. But we are back racing again. Green flag is in the air. Kyle Larson got a great jump and gets out to the lead. Justin Haley to second. Denny Hamlin, who was inside row 1, loses a few positions. Hocevar on the outside gets through to third. Now Ty Gibbs battles Denny Hamlin as he's stuck in line on the bottom still. Justin Haley is about to get passed by his teammate Carson Hocevar up at the front of the field, and Hocevar is up to second place. Highest in the running order he has been so far today. He finished 5th at the end of stage 1. Great restart here, gaining a few positions. Ty Gibbs, remember, was stuck on the outside of the racetrack for too long at the beginning of stage 1 before that outside got rubbered in. Fell from the 6th place starting spot back to 15th. He did get back in the top 10 before the end of the stage, but never got back up near the top 5. Hocevar, who was stuck on the outside late block on Alex Bowman, and Bowman might have cut him a break off turn 2, lifting to let him in. And the 77 luckily keeps from spinning as he is in 4th. Ty Gibbs was able to get to the bottom of the track, finally only lost a couple spots back to 7th this time. So still very much inside the top 10. A couple other cars stuck on the outside of the racetrack outside the top 10. Josh Berry actually battles with the 6 of Brad Keselowski. William Byron also on the outside just behind them, around his teammate Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick. Lap 150 of 500 here today at Bristol Motor Speedway. Oh, big bump. Elliott to the back of the 6 of Keselowski. Might have gotten him just a little loose, but the 21 couldn't capitalize and get back down to the bottom in time. A little bit of bumper cars there in the middle of the pack. Little to no tire fall. Well, I wouldn't say little to no tire fall off, but definitely not anywhere as near the fall off that we saw yesterday in practice. And again, we'll monitor stage 2 to see if that will be the same. Showing why Elliott got in the back of the 6 of Keselowski. I think Bubba Wallace, right in front of Keselowski, had a moment off of turn 4. Brad got into him, and then a chain reaction of events for Elliott to get into the 6. The lead is still 0.2 of a second early in this green flag run for Larson over Haley. 0.6 back to Denny Hamlin in 3rd. Carson Hocevar 1.3 seconds off the lead in 4th. And Alex Bowman's 1.9 seconds off the lead in 5th. Top 5 in the intervals between those positions here. Again, early in stage 2.
Up on that right rear quarter panel, got himself back down in line and not going to be close enough to retaliate.
So he has this way. You better be darn sure that car can't get back to your rear bumper right away.
Really good point. You can move them. There's still a lot of racing left.
So that gives Larson the Xfinity fastest lap of the race so far. 124.7 miles. Coming off the restart at lap 104.
Well, it's not by a little bit either. Almost a tenth and a half right there. So Kyle Larson car, it is really fast. You see another Chevrolet of Justin Haley right behind him, and the other guy that has had a lot of success running third right now, Denny Hamlin. So Haley's a little bit of a surprise to be up there in the middle of those two guys.
I think that's credit to them taking off, risking it early on, got them the track position that they needed. This has become a track position game, much like we saw last week in Darlington. You must keep the track position. Caution comes out the wrong time, it can nab you.
Advent Health came right here with Eric Jones on the inside of Ty Gibbs.
Ty Dillon.
Sorry, yeah, Ty Dillon, sorry. Thank you, Mike.
Nice spoiler cam look there. Josh Berry still on the outside. That's who they're right behind. Wood Brothers car there.
Hard to explain the challenge. You're watching right along with Eric Jones with that car on the outside. You need that real estate to move up the track. They pitch you off, and you hear him working that gas. Can't put it all the way down. Cut your line off. You're pulling on the wheel really hard, trying to stay off of that outside car. Very challenging around the tight quarters of Bristol.
We continue under green. When we come back, Kyle Larson will be closing in on lapping cars once again. We're 160 laps in.
All right, we'll go through the full field running order here early in stage 2. Again, lap 163 of 500 and lap 39 of 125 in the second stage. Only caution of the day was so far at lap 125 at the stage end, and the only lead change was Bowman getting passed by Kyle Larson after Bowman started on the pole, led the first 39 laps. Larson has led everyone since. He won the race off pit road, obviously, as well, and gets a great restart. Justin Haley's in second place, got Denny Hamlin in third behind the leader Larson. Carson Hocevar in fourth, Alex Bowman fifth. Sixth place for Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs seventh, Ryan Blaney in eighth. AJ Allmendinger ninth, and Chase Briscoe rounds out the top 10. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 11th, Bubba Wallace 12th, 13th for Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott 14th, and Tyler Reddick 15th. Austin Dillon 16th, 17th, William Byron, Ross Chastain 18th, Zane Smith 19th, and Josh Berry in 20th. Ty Dillon 21st, Kyle Busch 22nd, Austin Cindric 23rd, and Ryan Preece is the last car in the lead lap in 24th. John Hunter Nemechek is 25th, Riley Herbst 26th, 27th, Todd Gilliland, Eric Jones in 28th, Chris Buescher 29th, and 30th is Joey Logano. Corey LaJoie in 31st, Daniel Suarez 32nd, Cole Custer 33rd, Noah Gragson 34th, Cody Ware 35th, Shane Van Gisbergen 36th, Jesse Love 37th, Michael McDowell 38th, and Josh Bilicki rounds out our 39-car field, and all 39 cars are still in the race. We'll take another break. You're listening live on KRC to the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. "94 votes have been casted in our chat poll for who you think is going to win today's race. 51% of those 94 votes taking Kyle Larson for the W. Denny Hamlin in the number 11 has 11% of the votes, 9% somebody other than Hamlin, Bowman, or Larson. So that is the second poll, but Larson over 50% of those votes with the 4 options. I had Larson or the field yesterday in the Xfinity race, and I think it was 65-35 in favor of Larson, and Larson ended up winning. So we'll see if Larson can do that again here today.
UFL takes over Easter weekend with a Fox football extravaganza. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll see it all next weekend on Fox. Kyle Larson continues to lead here at Bristol. And yes, he has gone lap track and beginning to work it here. Haley, Hamlin, Hocevar, fourth, and Bowman the top 5.
And I can't tell you how much easier it is now that this track's opened up. You have that outside line. I've seen guys shoot the middle. The ball and lane's still good with the traction compound. They're racing all over the racetrack right now. Pretty racy.
Now the thing is going to be, when does this PJ1 start to slow down? Does it ever slow down? How many laps will it last? Will it chunk up on the bottom? Will it start to wear out? Will the high group start to really take enough rubber so you can rip a nice arc all the way around the corner. Now you got to keep up with the racetrack. You got to understand when to move up and do all those things.
Haley under fire from Hamlin for second.
Fantastic job. And then Hamlin, you know he's going to be.
Around Ryan Preece, who's gone one lap down. And Busapart right with his teammate. There's the Chili's onboard cam.
Yeah, and this is right in Husvar's wheelhouse now, Clint. Being able to just smash the gas, be aggressive, make lap time. That's what it takes to be really good here at Bristol.
Oh!
Alex Bowman,
That was right in front of Hamlin.
and the first caution of the day for cause waves at lap 178.
How did Denny get on the brakes soon enough to miss that?
And spins in turn 2.
It was right in the middle of the corner.
It looks like Ryan Preece fought hard to stay away from one lap down.
Well, I think that's where that he's trying to get up here in the top right. Watch Shane Van Gisbergen get to the inside of him, runs out of real estate trying to squeeze and gets loose, corrects, get up into this door where they both go. That's racing at Bristol.
There's Hocevar's view of what happened between Cody Ware and Shane Van Gisbergen.
Look at that right in front.
Jeez.
That was close.
Usually you can't react that quick.
Missed his mark up the racetrack a little higher, and
He was getting crowded pretty hard too. Didn't tear that car up much. What are you thinking, Larry? We did.
I'd say we might see a mixed bag, Clint. We've run 35 laps again. The fall off is not that huge. We only have to go to lap 250 to end this stage, so probably you're looking at about.
Leaders are staying out, I can imagine.
Track position race. What's that track position?
After today's NASCAR race, head over to Fox to catch the IndyCar Series on the streets of Southern California for the 50th Long Beach Grand Prix. That's later today on Fox. The teams were allowed to purchase 9 sets of brand new tires for today's race, plus the set they qualified on. And this morning, NASCAR allowed each team another set of tires.
Yeah.
With the concern about tire wear. So 10 sets of new tires plus the scuffs from qualifying are available today.
probably going to have some extras now that the racetrack is rubbered up. So this will be interesting, like Larry said, as to is track position that much more important? Is the pace what's going to trump the other today?
Well, let's look at that. Somewhere around after 35 laps, they were running 1590s. All right. We'll go back to that last run. Deep into the run, they were still running 1580s on lap 100. So I don't know. I think the track position game is alive and well.
Well, we know that Joe Gibbs Racing leads in the win column this season, but the Gibbs Performance Center has also been hard at work on pit stops. Now, this is what we saw last year at Richmond, a different choreography of the pit stop.
That was 2022. That wasn't.
Stop displayed on the iPad for the driver. Time to fueling there, and we talked earlier about this slick move the jack from the right to the left side of the car move, all chasing fractions of a second.
He didn't come up with that, though. Our man Junior Johnson did. I saw that first back then.
All right, Ricky Stenhouse from 9th is the first of the cars to pit. The front 8 stayed out under this caution light. So we'll take a break from Bristol.
I don't blame Stenhouse for pitting, even though he was in the top 10. He had fallen back quite a bit from the start of the race and didn't seem to quite pace as well on the long run. So why not try something different? And we'll see what he can do. Not sure exactly how many cars behind him also came to pit road, but again, 9th place Stenhouse was the first of those that hit pit road. So at least the top 8 stayed out, and I'm sure there were several others that also stayed out of the pits behind the 47. So Kyle Larson will be the leader on the restart. Then you'll have Justin Haley, Denny Hamlin, Carson Hocevar, Chase Elliott, and Alex Bowman right there behind him. Just over an hour into the race, lap 183 of 500 here today at Bristol. This is our second caution. First for incident here, right in the middle of stage 2. Almost halfway through stage 2, exactly by the time we get to this next restart. Larson has led all but the first 39 laps. And I believe Ryan Preece got the free pass again, just like he did under the first caution. And Shane Van Gisbergen, following that crash with Cody Ware, is now scored in the last 6 laps down. I don't know if he's out of the race or not. There wasn't a lot of damage on that car. Could have a toe link break that the team is fixing. No DVP clock. As long as he stays in the car, he can continue. Tough season continues, though, for SVG in his rookie campaign in the Cup Series. Curious to know if they cannot pass because of the traction compound arrow or what. They're passing more throughout the field today than what we've seen at Bristol outside of last season with the tire fall off. But with the lack of fall off that we're seeing, I'd probably put this better than the night race last year. They're not passing Larson because Larson's probably got the fastest car. You're not going to see a lot of movement in the top 2 or 3 if Larson and Hamlin are up there because they're the 2 quickest so far today. And Justin Haley's been pretty quick. His teammate Carson Hocevar is up there for a reason too. A lot of fast cars in the top 5, so you're not going to see a lot of movement there. It'd be like that any racetrack, any car. You got the faster cars at the front of the field. You're not going to see a lot of movement. But from like 6th on back, there's been a lot of movement through the field so far. So don't let the stat line of Larson leading a bunch of laps necessarily fool you as far as that goes. Oh, who was that on pit road? One of the Toyotas had a lug nut and a tire rolling away from him. I believe it was the 42 of Nemechek. Oh, wow. Ended up hitting the back of the 99 of Daniel Suarez, and that just missed some of the pit crew members. Wow, that was a dangerous situation. That almost got the rear tire changer as he was rounding the back of the car. Had that happen, I mean, those tires are good 40 pounds. Oh, man, it was rolling at a good speed, too. That would have done some damage. To the back of the car, at least, it doesn't seem like Suarez's car is very damaged, but that could have been a very, very I mean, you're talking about getting your leg rolled up on by a heavy 40-pound weight rolling at however many miles, probably 30 miles per hour, which is where the pit road speeds are at. That could have been bad. Hit pretty center with the back bumper of Suarez's car. Again, quite a few laps under caution for these yellows today. We had 16 of them in stage 1 for no incident. And I believe this is the 10th lap of caution that we are on following the 2-car incident with Cody Ware and Shane Van Gisbergen. Larson should be on the outside of row 1 for the restart. The outside of row 1 at Bristol has been the control line on the restarts all weekend long. Xfinity, truck. I don't think a single car has taken the bottom, and now here in the Cup Series, no different. Justin Haley from 2nd place is going to take outside of row 2, so Hamlin will be inside row 1. And he actually fell to 4th on the last restart, got to 3rd, was battling Haley for 2nd when the caution came out. So we'll see if he can have a better restart this time to try to keep up with the 5. There was one restart in the Xfinity Series yesterday where the car on the bottom had won the battle for the lead, and that was Allgaier on Larson at the beginning of stage 3. But all the control cars have been on the outside all weekend. So Larson, Hamlin, front row, green flag back in the air. Hamlin slides the tires on the back portion of the restart zone. Larson's able to clear through the center of turns 1 and 2, but Hamlin is easily in second, while Bowman is side by side for third briefly with Justin Haley. Oh, Hamlin slipped up off the exit of turn 2. Lost some ground to Larson. Definitely overdrove the corner, and now Alex Bowman's underneath the 11. That jammed up Justin Haley on the outside, and that costed him that spot to Alex, and now the 20 of Bell is underneath him. First time Christopher Bell has been in the top 5 today. Byron stayed out of the pits, leapfrogged quite a few cars in the back half of the top 10. First time that the 24 has cracked the top 10 today after starting back in 26th. Bowman was able to clear for second on Hamlin before getting back down to the inside in front of Bell in fourth. Haley falls to fifth after that slight checkup. So the top 10 has changed quite a bit on the restart. So now you got Kyle Larson leading, Alex Bowman second, Denny Hamlin third, Christopher Bell fourth, Justin Haley fifth, Carson Hocevar in sixth, Ty Gibbs seventh, Chase Briscoe eighth, AJ Allmendinger ninth, Tyler Reddick is 10th. 57 laps to go in stage 2 this time by. 3 wide around Byron, Blaney, and Allmendinger. After the 16 and 24 almost got together, very tight squeeze for the 12 to clear them all. And now Blaney's back in the top 10. Byron up the hill, slides in front of the 16 car. And AJ still loses more positions. Spire car side by side for 5th. Hocevar, Haley on the outside. Hocevar on the bottom. Again, there is movement through the field today, just not a lot in those top couple positions. This restart has definitely been the wildest of the few we've seen. Larson has the fastest lap of the race so far as well, 15.386 at lap 144, which would have been the restart to begin stage 2. So he would hold the max points day if he can win the second stage and go on to win the race, because he was also the stage 1 winner.
On pit road each race. On the track, driver rating of first. 18th on restarts, pit crew ranking not so well. As he was the leader on the last caution flag there at Darlington last week, but Denny Hamlin had the right pit stall and the right pit stop to get him his position to win. Wallace and Stenhouse are the next 2 drivers, fresh tires behind Blaney.
You're going to need this to go deep into a run before those fresh tires will ever show you the advantage. I think, again, going back to that first run, those guys, when I saw them guys laying the same lap times down, on lap 110, 115, if they could run on 20, 30 laps of this run, she's a track position game, boys.
Jamie?
Kyle Larson has run more laps this weekend than anybody. That's because truck race here on Friday night. Kyle, after that first stop, he came on the radio and said, "This car is good. I'm really happy with it. They had made it like air pressure adjustment to help him." The corner, he gets really tight. It's also free up high as well. So not as happy with the balance of that race car. It's in here for sure. On their top.
Right behind Denny Hamlin is a 20 car Christopher Bell. Been battling 3 off of turn 4, fighting for some lateral grip as well as a little tight 1 and 2. But the larger issue for the 20 car, the last run, he began to get some severe brake shake when he would hit the brake pedal, meaning the pedal was shaking up and down as he would try to slow down for the corners. The team had him drag the brakes the entire caution period to try and clean the rotors off. And the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., one of the cars that fitted the last time around, they were very, very loose. That's the reason why they did it. Mike Kelly did tell me earlier today, they went with a very aggressive setup, anticipating that if the track did get to where we had a longer run race, they would do better.
Very typical Bristol. When the pace picks up like this, you get in sync, you get in your rhythm, Kevin. You start backing the corner up and running that bottom. You hardly even drag any brake. You just barely drag it. They run full. Brakes don't like to run cool. They start vibrating.
It's like you said, that material from the brake pad builds up on the rotor. And in these cars, they have really big calipers, big brake pads, big big rotors to go along with that. And that shake is really annoying and it actually affects your rhythm as a driver and the way that you can brake in the car. So brake shake is usually from the brakes being too cold.
And violent. It's hard to explain how violent it'll shake the steering wheel. I mean, you said it. It throws you off your rhythm in a big way because that wheel is shaking really hard.
24 cars on the lead lap, led by Kyle Larson. Again, he will be lapping cars when we come back. There's side-by-side break.
All right, well, there you have it. Side-by-side commercial break now on Fox Sports 1. 1.9 second lead for Kyle Larson over Alex Bowman in second. Denny Hamlin's 2.3 seconds back in third. A 2.9 second gap back to Christopher Bell. And you got Carson Hocevar 3.4 seconds off the lead in fifth. Justin Haley's 4 seconds off the lead in sixth. Seventh place is Ty Gibbs, 4.6 seconds back of Hamlin. Chase Briscoe is in eighth, 5 seconds off the lead. Tyler Reddick, 5.5 seconds back in ninth, and Ryan Blaney, 5.8 seconds off the lead in 10th. Josh Bilicki's 66 machine's getting pushed back to pit row by his pit crew. Looks like he's going to exit from the race. And Shane Van Gisbergen is off the racetrack at the very least right now, with damage to his car back in 39th. So he did leave the racetrack. And again, as long as he's still in the car, he can return. But 2 cars are off and or out of the race as of right now, out of the 39 that started. Lap 214 of 500. Just less than 40 laps to go. Stage 2. You're listening live on KRC to the Food City 500 at Bristol. Larson is in another zip code. Yeah, he's definitely got the fastest car in the field. I don't think it was as close as I thought it might be between Hamlin and Larson through stage 1. Larson's got the quickest car, and having the track position with no tire wear, good luck getting by him. No need to speed on pit road. He keeps putting the big gap with lap cars in between himself and second every time. Should only be a 3 pit stop race in general for fuel. Stenhouse, Chase Elliott on screen battling for 15th. Ricky up on the high side, Chase Elliott working the bottom. Ryan Blaney is first of those that hit pit road for the fresh tires during the last caution, and he's up to 9, just past Tyler Reddick. He's the only one in the top 10, obviously. And I believe there were 12 or 13 cars that stayed out under that last caution from what I counted. And the top 8 had all stayed out specifically.
Welcome back to Bristol. 219 laps complete, or 94 laps into stage 2, which will end at halfway in this race, lap 250. Kyle Larson picking up right where he left off last fall. Dominating performance after Alex Bowman led the first 39 laps. Larson has not been headed, and now he's back in lap traffic. Well, one of which, Daniel Suarez, trying to overcome a penalty on that last pit stop. Regan said the crew was watching the drama at the back of the car, and a tire got away at the front of the car.
Yeah, watch this right front tire to go over here right in to that fuel guy's way, interferes with the guy in front of them, big trouble.
This is from inside Suarez's car. You see that tire rolling away into the fueler of Corey LaJoie's car ahead. So that's 6 penalties so far, 3 of which were for speeding. As we're coming up on halfway in about 27 laps here. Well, Ryan Preece again, trying to hold back Kyle Larson. This will be the 3rd time that we've seen this. Each of the previous 2 times he has gotten the free pass and got back on the lead lap. See how he fares this time.
I'd love to hear the in-car right there, being able to listen to him work the throttle.
Yeah, that time when he went back to the gas, he was able to stay with it down here. 3 and 4. That time before that, he didn't quite do it. You heard wall, 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 wall.
It's pretty wild to watch the way that he raises his hand up on that steering wheel going in there.
How about the same thing? What is that? Wrist hurt? I'm not sure. Never done that before.
He's got his steering wheel upside down.
So he's got an oblong steering wheel.
Yeah, it looks like that car is tight, or it sounds like that car is tight just listening to the throttle. He just has to wait and then dump the throttle on the exit.
I noted yesterday, he seems to have a quicker ratio steering rack than a lot of the drivers because he doesn't need to turn the wheel as much. Driver choice. Oh. Pull Custer up top. Custer 2 laps down. Sean. That's Christopher Bell moving up to 4th spot on Hosevar.
I've been watching Christopher Bell, and he's methodically getting back up through here. I think that is such a Christopher Bell thing. When this track comes down to it, you need a driver to move around. You need these dirt drivers.
Yeah,
they're capable of watching this racetrack, moving around, finding the grip, because you know that traction compound is eventually going to wear out on the bottom. Doesn't surprise me you see two of the best dirt racers in the field, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, running right here in the front.
Bell's going to be one of our Toyota top performers. Denny Hamlin currently 3rd. Christopher Bell in 4th. Ty Gibbs in 7th. Chase Briscoe in 8th. Tyler Reddick 10th.
You see Bell up there in the top of the racetrack, and as more guys keep running up there, I see more and more cars going to the top of the racetrack. And when that rubber's up, that racetrack is ground a little bit different than the rest of the racetrack in that top lane. So it's got bigger chunks taken out of the concrete. So it tends to take a little bit longer to get that rubber in, but once it does, it's like a light switch, and these guys are going to be hunting the top of that track. And if the PJ1 on the bottom of the racetrack wears out a little bit, just loses just a touch of speed, that's when that top lane is really going to be the dominant lane.
And you can see that on the outside, exactly what you're talking about. See the shiny way up high. They get in there in the middle of the corner. Watch it yesterday in the Xfinity race. He kind of diamond back off, Kevin. Back in the day, you used to rim ride on the outside. From the middle to the outside, you ride the wall to find really good speed up there. I had to dive in the corner, kind of the way they are now.
Now, Bell and Hosevar, they're trying to move forward. They're going to have to go to the bottom because Daniel Suarez down is up there in that top lane. That orange car is Suarez.
Look how much rubber's up there on that outside.
Yeah, and Suarez is 2 laps down, but Christopher Bell is the one that's rolling. He and Hosevar both are rolling pretty good.
Talked about track position. The 12 drivers that stayed out, and we've run over 40 laps. They're all inside the top 13 right now. The only one that's cracked inside of them is Ryan Blaney, that 12.
So we see that. We just covered that with Blaney. You know he's going to go to the front. I don't care if it's old tires, new tires, whatever the case may be. Well, that's always going to the front.
It's surprising that he's the only one that's been able to crack the top dozen of the cars that stayed out.
They don't matter. They mattered yesterday.
Clint, I always felt like the 2 ends of these racetracks have a little bit different grind as you go and you watch Chase Briscoe. Let's see, just like I'm driving, I'm trying to figure out which end of the
1
track
and
he's
2.
in here. Yeah, so
3 and 4 now.
now he's in 3 and 4. But I always felt like the grind, the way that the track was ground in 3 and 4, kind of looked at the direction of the corner in the middle 1 and 2. Down here in the top, where you see Blaney up in the top lane, right there's a bump right in the middle of the corner, and there's another bump about 3/4 of the way up off the corner in that high lane. But I always felt like that grinding at the top in 3 and 4 allowed you to kind of give it more partial throttle and power through the center of the corner with the way that corner was diamond ground and cut the concrete surface.
And then go back to 1 and 2. Turn 2, actually, that bump over there. It depended on, how hard you were on the stops and whatever, right front spring you had. If it bottomed out over there, you were in trouble. You were always able to get around that bump, ride the wall a little bit better than I did. That bump is a very crucial part of this track. That's what differentiates turns 1 and 2 to 3 and 4.
And there's one other difference. The way the sun comes across this racetrack at this time of year, turns 1 and 2, at least to this point of the day, have been hotter. The concrete's been hotter than up in turns 3 and 4, which was partially shaded.
Well, to what you're saying right there, that's why it started rubbering up, and that outside line, it did come in a little bit faster in 1 and 2 than 3 and 4.
Well, you're really starting to be able to see as you watch Riley Herbst and Kyle Larson get ready to go by. You saw the exit of turn 4 right there. And now what'll happen as you start to run that top lane, the exits of these corners, you see some of the debris from the tires.
That's the cushion.
Yeah, don't go up there. That's the
cushion.
and that, it will grab you and just suck you right into that fence.
I'm going to say somebody as high as it is in both corners, right in the apex of the corner, you're going to see somebody hit the wall, jump that cushion and get the fence.
You're about to see Kyle Larson get impatient with Riley Herbst there, who swept up the racetrack up into the line that Larson wanted. He responded by tugging on the wheel and dropping to the inside.
He's got such a lead now, he can afford some patience. Just be patient inside that car. You got time with these lappers. Time them, be patient with him, get the job done.
Herbst going 2 laps down here, and Nemechek just ahead.
That's another reason. It's one thing to go 1 lap down. You go 2 laps down here, and you're in slide job. How about that?
See him just drive up there and block that lane from Riley Herbst, and that's just like, hey, I'm done with this. I'm moving up here.
You're done.
Final lap of the stage. Kyle Larson, 66 stage wins, tying Martin Truex Jr. for first on the all-time list.
That's a lot, considering that stage racing only started in 2017.
Halfway.
66.
The pit crew's getting ready to go to work.
Well, that's a stage win on the season for Kyle Larson, number 3 and 4 today by winning stage 1 and stage 2 here in the Food City 500 at Bristol. Trying to eat into the points deficit on William Byron. Byron doesn't get any stage points today, despite coming in as the points leader. Hamlin gets quite a few. He came into this race second in points. Larson was in sixth rather in points. So we'll see what they can do. Definitely a better week for Larson this week than last. Wrecked on lap 5 and then again late in the race with a couple laps to go. And this week he led almost every lap, all but the first 39. Over 200 laps led, obviously, already as we're halfway through the race. Stage 3 will be 250 laps. This is not going to be the final pit stop, even though we haven't seen as hardly any fall off, but nowhere near what we were expecting coming into the race today, based off of what we saw in practice yesterday. Still have one more pit stop for fuel purposes. 170 to 180 laps under green is about as far as you can go on fuel. So they can make it to the final 100 laps of this race, but at some point they would have to pit if we went caution-free. If we see any yellows, we might see some strategy play come into hand for who might stay out to try to get that track position back. Lincoln Kim Hollingsworth, welcome to the stream. One of the newcomers in the chat recently, Delbert Wilson, welcome in as well. Yeah, all 3 must-haves, top 5 all day. Larson, Bowman, Hamlin. Hamlin was my race win pick in the pre-race. Larson's definitely had the best car throughout the course of the race. Free pass goes to Ryan Preece for the 3rd time. Brad Keselowski was the last car on the lead lap at the end of the stage. Preece in 24th. Top 10 at the end of the last stage had Larson leading, Alex Bowman 2nd, Christopher Bell 3rd, Carson Hocevar 4th, and Denny Hamlin 5th. Justin Haley 6th, Ty Gibbs 7th, Ryan Blaney 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th, and Tyler Reddick rounded out our top 10. 1 point per position, again, for the stage, and a playoff point for Larson, who wins the stage. 7 playoff points on the year coming into the day. 2 more today gets him to 9. Looking for 5 more if he can win the race. Hopeful, welcome to the stream. Quite a few people in the chat all day long. Be sure to hit the like button if you have not done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Our goal for likes on the stream is 100, and we are currently at 71 entering the final stage. So we're getting there. Over 2/3 of the way home through the race. We're just past halfway. So we're on pace. We got over 100 in the Xfinity race yesterday, so we should get there today. So be sure to hit that like button. Helps the streams out a ton. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as well.
We covered it during the race, so we see the technique that those guys are using on the pit stop, and like Denny said in the victory lap, getting in the pit stall down pit road, the pit crew does their job out of the box, off pit road. There's a lot of little pieces, and as all this migrates closer and closer together, it's executing all these crumbs to put yourself in a position to take advantage of a scenario like they did at the end and win the race.
One of the best podcasts in NASCAR. Join Kevin every Tuesday and Thursday. Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by Echo Park Automotive, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, we take a look at the top 5 right now. Larson, Bowman, Bell, Hocevar, and Hamlin. According to our pit crew rankings, the way they would come off pit road would be Hamlin, Bowman, Larson, Bell, Hocevar. We'll see how it turns out.
Well, the way this race is playing out here, that's where the money's going to be made.
You
No
didn't include the
mistake.
5 there. Remember, he's got a new pit crew, right?
Yeah, complete different crew.
Remember, under caution, everybody enters the pits at turn 2 and exits at turn 1, as you see from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100th to the Goodyear blimp. Pit road not yet open.
Yeah, they've taken a lot of time to clean the racetrack up on all of these cautions to get those marbles off of that top groove on the entry and exit. So, from a driver's standpoint, you're paying attention to that because you want to see where this racetrack is green. You can get a good eye on that PJ1 on the bottom of the racetrack and that traction compound to be able to tell where that rubber's built up on those sections.
Look how you can see where that thick ground down there and then where it wasn't. You can definitely see the aggregate in the concrete up on the top of the racetrack versus in the middle. That's when it gets on that ground surface and you get the rubber burst into that, it is rip and rip, baby.
So sweepers working hard at turns 1 and 2. You see at the top of the screen, and this time, pit road is open. Kyle Larson leads the man, Regan.
Carson Hocevar in the 77's car is very good right now. So good, they almost contemplated staying out, opted not to. They didn't want to be exposed. The 7 car jumped in Haley a little bit too edgy as the cars have moved up the racetrack. And the 20 car, Christopher Bell, who's going to come around the screen all the way to the turn 4 pit stalls, just a little bit tight and 1 and 2. It freed up as he went along. The brake shake got better, and they are going to stop him short so he can get around the Water Bros Chastain. Jamie?
Well, Larry mentioned that Kyle Larson has a brand new pit crew. That was official last week at Darlington, but they crashed so early, didn't get many reps together. So far, so good today. Kyle saying the car is fine, just a little tighter there, but we're close, and the car is consistent. Meanwhile, the 48, a couple of complaints there. Don't have a great front turn is what he said. Hope that was a little more right rear security in that car.
Kyle Larson retains the lead from Alex Bowman. Denny Hamlin comes out 3rd.
Kevin, we both saw it. The 20 car really took off out of his box fast, and I saw him slow up a bunch.
Here's how close it was for 3rd, with Bell 4th and Hocevar 5th. Kyle Larson doing what Logan Byron did last week in Darlington, winning stages 1 and 2.
And leading a lot of laps, just like Byron did early last week as well. Larson wins the race off pit road, maintains as the leader. Bowman came out of the pits in 2nd. Denny Hamlin was 3rd after gaining 2 positions. And then Christopher Bell back 1 spot to 4th. Well, lucky for you guys in the Fantasy League, Kyle Larson was left in my garage today. Oh, geez. What a tough break. He won the first 2 stages. He's leading now. Why was he in my garage, do you ask? Well, he was in my garage because I forgot to put the lineup for my team in during the course of the stream. So that's on me. It's the 2nd time I've done that this year, but this one might cost me a lot of points, considering it's Larson and he is the most dominant car on the racetrack. Unless he gets involved in an incident in stage 3 or something. I don't know. Ryan Preece is scored as the leader. He would have gotten the free pass, so he won't be the leader once everything cycles through. I think he's actually getting credited with laps led. Yeah, he led 1 lap technically on our scoring sheet. Wonder if that's still going to be the case. 220 for Larson. Still the 1 lead change. All right, so Hendrick versus JGR in the top 5 right now. 3rd through 5th, JGR. Top 2, Hendrick. Chase Elliott, William Byron have been nowhere to be found in the top 10 all day. It's been all Larson and Bowman for HMS. My head-to-head picks this week had Blaney over Briscoe in the Fantasy League, Bowman over Keselowski, Elliott over Busher, and Hamlin over Larson. The race were to end right now, it'd be 2 for 4. Can't believe I forgot about Kyle Larson being in my garage at the start of the race. I should have swapped it out before the race began just in case that would happen. I came in as a points leader, so that's going to cost me probably. All right, today's diecast showing on the channel. Thanks for reminding me in the chat, Delbert. For stage 2 here today, Jeff Burton, singular wireless Chevrolet from 2005. It's actually signed on the windshield as well. Bright orange car. Jeff Burton always had some pretty good paint schemes over the years. Showed a Jeff Burton Sitco diecast from 2000 yesterday, so showing another Jeff Burton one off today.
Playing at pole fitter, Bowman. Liberty dominated last fall. 1 stage 1, 1 stage 2. Not a whole lot of action. We got some hit problems for some teams. Cody Ware and Shane Van Gisbergen bringing out the caution flags on Hunter Nemechek, lost a wheel. But this looks like an emotional ride for a dominant driver who's run well here all weekend in Kyle Larson, or what could shake things up a little bit.
Well, I like Ty Gibbs. And you just think about the tough start to the season for the 54 team. Finished in the top 10 last week at Darlington, ran 9th. He ran 7th in that stage. Pitts crew gaining 2 spots. I think he's in a really good position right here. And I don't view Gibbs as the guy that's going to go out and win, but they need some consistency and start building some momentum with that team.
Yeah, the last 3 Bristol races, they've wrapped up with green flag racing over the last 120 laps or more. Let's go back to the booth. Thanks, Chris. Kyle Larson, your leader now. 11 cars took the wave around. Here's a look at who won stage points today. Larson maxing out with 20. 11 drivers now taking the wave around to get a lap back as they are ahead of the race leader behind the pace car, which is going to wait to pick up Kyle Larson. 6 of those drivers will wave around back to the lead lap.
Oh.
Noah Gregson is one of those. Chris Busher, Nemechek, Jones, also Gilliland and Logano wave back to the lead lap.
No, it's a little kind of frustrating. They didn't get stared off all the way off, Kevin.
Yeah, and
It's aggravating.
that definitely bothers you as the driver. But once you get into that rhythm, it almost disappears.
That's right.
It annoys you right now under caution though.
It always does. Something little like that, then you get going, you forget all about it.
And Ryan Preece has a lock on getting his lap back. He was the free pass car once again. The 3rd time today, nobody else has had a free pass.
All right, getting set for the race start to begin stage 3. Larson in the lead yet again. Outside row 1, no surprise. Alex Bowman underneath him. Bowman and Larson finished 1-2 at Homestead the last time that Kyle Larson ran triple duty as well. Denny Hamlin had a top 5 that day, and all 3 of them are up there in the middle going of this race, beginning stage 3. Green flag in the air, good launch for Larson. Hamlin quickly to the outside of the 48 of Bowman, entering turn 1 for 2nd. Larson clear to the bottom of the racetrack, couple car lengths off turn 2, he's out ahead of the 48. Hamlin trying to win this battle for 2nd right now. Off the exit of turn 4, he does. Hamlin clear for second, and he's got to run after Kyle Larson, trying to take advantage of this on the restart. Clean air up to the outside with Larson still running the bottom. Best chance to get by this 5 car is probably going to be on a restart to try to get that track position, if not on pit road. Hamlin's picker gaining a couple spots in the pits that last time, getting him a few positions better and a chance to get back up into second after finishing 5th in stage 1. Christopher Bell shuffled way out of line off turn 4, loses the battle for 4th with Ty Gibbs, and now he's side by side for 5th with Carson Hocevar. Byron back in the top 10 again. He also had a quick pit stop, gained a couple of positions. Good restart for the 24 as well. He was 11th at the end of stage 2. No stage points today for the points leader, Byron. Ryan Blaney in the 12. Battles with Justin Haley side by side right behind the 77 and 20, who were side by side till just now, where Hocevar is able to clear for 5th. Bell had a good long run car and was able to get to 3rd towards the tail end of that last run at the end of the last stage. Ryan Blaney now to the outside of the 20 for 6th. Hamlin still keeping close proximity with Larson. Hamlin felt his car was a little too tight for his liking through the center of the corner during stage 2. So a chance to make some major adjustments for that 11 team to try to free him up a bit. We'll see if that'll help him. Falling back to 5th during that last stage when he was 2nd at the end of stage 1, definitely telling as to where the handling was on the car. Maybe went the wrong way on an adjustment following the first pit stop of the race. Wouldn't have had quite as many green flag laps in stage 2 with the stage lap cautions at the beginning of the stage and then the caution in the middle of it with the SVG Cody Ware incident. Fastest time of the day for Hamlin on that last restart as well, lap 267, which was almost 10 laps ago now. Fastest lap of the day on the last restart as well for Carson Hocevar and Ty Gibbs up in the top 5 at lap 271. Larson's fastest lap of the race is still the fastest overall for any driver, and that was at lap 144 in the last stage. Hamlin has been in second for a long time back at stage 1, so you can definitely tell his car has gotten better considering he just ran his fastest lap when he did. So they definitely went the right way with the adjustment, at least for the short run side of things. We'll see on the long run if he grows tight again. Probably going to be dealing with a tight car in traffic anyway, and because it's a half-mile short track at Bristol, you're going to be dealing with traffic a lot. Handling is definitely huge. I was talking about it during the Xfinity race yesterday, and I'll reiterate it again today. That's definitely an aerodynamically sensitive racetrack compared to any other short track we go to, just because of the high mid-corner speeds that we see here compared to a Martinsville, a Richmond, North Wilkesboro, Bowman Gray, I guess, this year as well. Justin Haley fell all the way back to 9th on the restart after running top 5 all day before that. I think he lost the most positions of anybody in the top 10. Trying to find my cursor. There we go. Scrolling all over the screen, couldn't find it. I guess he only lost 1 position. He must have lost a few on pit road then. Because he definitely wasn't 8th at the end of the last stage. I believe he was 5th or 6th. FS1 heading to commercial break. Handful of drivers took the wave around as well during that last caution. Todd Gillen, Eric Jones, Noah Gregson, Joey Logano, John Hunter Nemechek, Chris Buescher all took the wave around to get back on the lead lap. So they did not top off on fuel, and they have old tires on the restart. They'll be able to go probably 70 to 80 green flag laps at the most at the start of the stage before pitting. So they're hoping for a caution at some point in time, probably before lap 350, if I had to guess. They might even have to pit just before lap 350. It's just a rough guesstimate. And they pit under green, they're going to lose more than just 1 lap, which is how far off the lead they were. At that point, if they end up having to pit early, take the fresh tires and then hope that it stays green long enough that the rest of the field would have to pit, but that wouldn't be probably for another 70, 80 laps after the fact as well. Dime Drawer, welcome to the stream. Good old Dick Trickle. One of the greatest names in racing. Along with Friday Hassler that we found out in the pre-race for those of you watching during our Sporkle NASCAR quiz of the week. Found out about him today. That's a cool name. Friday Hassler. I've always thought Parnelli Jones was the coolest sounding name in racing. Parnelli Jones. That was always my favorite. My grandpa called me Parnelli growing up too, after him as a nickname. He was the only one that called me that, so I wouldn't say it's a nickname that necessarily stuck. But again, I told you, racing's in my blood. Even though I'm not blood related to Parnelli Jones, but had I been, maybe I would have made a career in racing after all. This is the consolation prize to that. 1.8 second lead for Kyle Larson over Denny Hamlin. Still the one caution for incident, and then the other 2 yellows the stage end so far today through our first 292 of 500 laps. With Denny Hamlin in second, Ty Gibbs has moved to third, passing Carson Hocevar during the commercial break. Hocevar falls to fourth. Ryan Blaney is up to fifth. And you got William Byron in sixth. Christopher Bell in seventh. Justin Haley eighth. Chase Briscoe ninth. Tyler Reddick rounding out the top 10. 207 laps to go this time by at Bristol Motor Speedway for Kyle Larson. Alex Bowman sliding back, and he's now outside the top 10 with problems.
I heard it start watching him drop positions, and I heard it come by. You can hear it down a cylinder.
Wow.
That is a major bummer.
Bowman restarted second. He's now fallen to 13. About to lose another spot to Josh Berry and Yost Dillon here. Meanwhile, Chase Briscoe out to eighth on Justin Haley. They started eighth and ninth in reverse order.
Yeah,
They started.
both of those guys having a solid day. You see that terrible one Healy's car still right in the middle of his vision, but Joey Logano, he's in big trouble right here. One of those cars that did the wave around, and now Kyle Larson has put him a lap down.
He's not the only one. There is a bunch of cars bunched up together right in front of your leader, Kyle Larson. Be patient.
And you said there was 11 wave around?
11 took the wave around, 6 of which got back on the lead lap. And here's the 34 in trouble, dropping down to pit road. Todd Gilliland.
Oh,
I believe he was one of those cars that took the wave around. Those cars have 75 more laps on their tires than the drivers who stopped at this last caution flag. Gilliland on the back.
oh yeah, they would have pitted during the caution in the middle of the last stage. I forgot about that.
The way that this race is going right now, we've seen a lot of green flag runs up until this point. So now you're going to see, as you see Todd Gilliland going down pit road.
All right, watching for Chris Busher, the BuildSubmarines.com cam, as Kyle Larson came up to put him a lap down.
This car's starting to smoke. It ain't gonna be
Oh.
long, guys.
Yeah,
It's gonna grenade soon. He's losing a lot of speed down the straightaways now.
coming out of the exhaust.
Never good, Larry.
Yeah, I was watching here on 10 to 5 here, Tom.
I was watching his lap times. If there's one track you can get by being a little bit down on horsepower, this is it. As long as it doesn't just completely go away. Todd Gilliland should be, because of being out of fuel, complaining about fuel pressure. He had last pitted at lap 181. That's 120 laps ago.
This thing's really starting to lay down. It ain't gonna be long.
Yeah, I didn't mind it so much until that smoke started coming out the exhaust pipe.
Yeah.
Especially on it's like at Bristol, when it's, because of the banking, you just don't lose a lot of speed and the cars keep a lot of momentum. Jamie, what do you got?
Speaking of a game plan, you also saw there's a game plan with the mechanics up on top of the box. Talking to the crew chief, there's a member from Larson's team, a member from Byron's team. They're already with helmets on when their 48 driver decides to take that hard left to cut one down.
Thanks, Jerry. Well, up at the front of the field, Yogi Berra said, looks like deja vu all over again. We'll take the script from last fall's race, when Kyle Larson took the lead from Alex Bowman on lap 33 and led almost all the rest of the laps and won. Today, Larson took the lead from Bowman on lap 40, has swept the stages and led ever since. 250 laps in on this stage 3, and Kyle Larson has now passed Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, and the Silver Fox, David Pearson, to move to 9th all-time in laps led at Bristol.
What difference a few races make? We've got this 54 car running way better than we started the year, Kevin. He is right there running down the second place teammate of his, Denny Hamlin, in 11 car. Very fast, big turnaround for Ty Gibbs.
Well, it's a big organization with Joe Gibbs Racing, and to be able to put the resources, time, and effort, and everything that goes into turning a team around is not easy. But we've seen this 54 car over the last several weeks be able to put themselves in position to qualify better, to have some decent finishes, which puts you into a different practice group. Now you're at a racetrack where he's had a lot of success in the past of being able to put up results, lead laps, and here we are with 191 laps to go, with Ty Gibbs running down, as you see Eric Jones right up next to the wall and the debris. But Ty Gibbs doing a great job today.
Watching Kyle Larson lap cars, and Chris Buescher has been able to kind of maintain pace with Larson. Buescher has gone a lap down, but until a lap ago, he was within about 4 car lengths of the race leader. Now he's dropped back a little bit, but he was like matching Larson's line and moving past slower cars with him. Now Buescher goes to the top of the racetrack, and I guess that'll be the end of that for a while. 188 laps to go.
All right, 2-second lead for Kyle Larson, managing the gap over Denny Hamlin as they race through lap traffic yet again here at Bristol, though the first time in stage 3. Haven't had a caution in the final stage yet. 185 laps to go at Bristol Motor Speedway as we stand right now. With Larson leading, Denny Hamlin in second, you got Ty Gibbs in third, Carson Hocevar fourth, and Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5. William Byron is in 6th, 7th for Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe 8th, Justin Haley 9th, and Tyler Reddick is 10th. 11th is AJ Allmendinger, Ross Chastain in 12th, Josh Berry 13th, 14th for Austin Dillon, and Kyle Busch 15th. Brad Keselowski 16th, Bubba Wallace 17th, Chase Elliott 18th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th, and Austin Cindric 20th. Zane Smith 21st, Ryan Preece 22nd, Ty Dillon 23rd, John Hunter Nemechek 24th is the last car in the lead lap. Noah Gregson's the first car lap down in 25th currently, Chris Buescher 26th, Joey Logano 27th, Eric Jones 28th, Alex Bowman 29th, still on track, but having some engine problems, smoke coming out of the exhaust, and he's definitely down a cylinder. Was running in 3rd prior to the engine problem not that long ago. Corey LaJoie's in 30th, Riley Herbst 31st, Daniel Suarez 32nd, Cole Custer 33rd, Jesse Love 34th, Michael McDowell 35th, Cody Ware 36th, 37th for Todd Gilliland, who had the unscheduled pit stop during green. Shane Van Gisbergen 38th, Josh Bilicki 39th. Those last 2 cars are out of the race. Lap 70 of 250 so far for stage 3. The caution laps ran at the beginning of the stage, probably looking at around 60 laps, maybe a little less than that have been ran so far under green flag conditions. Watching IndyCar Buffalo Wild Wings. There you go. You can watch IndyCar on TV. You can listen to what's going on with NASCAR. And you can eat some good wings along the way. Jerry Marty, welcome to the stream. Thomas Forbes, welcome to the stream. He's pulling for Chase Elliott today. Tough day for Elliott. Has not been anywhere near the top 10 really all day. He's been hovering around 15th most of the race, currently 18th. Brad Keselowski's gained the most position since the restart, up 7 spots. Same for John Hunter Nemechek. To get to where they're running right now, 178 laps to go at Bristol.
Meaning flown by 1.7 seconds. However, back at third place, Ty Gibbs is going to be under fire from Carson Hocevar and Ryan Blaney.
Yes, sir. There he is.
Yeah, both of those cars of Carson Hocevar and Ryan Blaney, were making a lot of speed on the top of the racetrack as you see Carson go to the bottom now. So if the 54 wants to defend that 77, he's going to have to get up top and make that pace like those guys were able to make. Now, when this top group comes in like this, and we've seen that speed start to be a little more dominant on the top than the bottom, that changes things. And now you can use the bottom to pass, but it's so hard to finish the pass when that grip strip on the bottom has worn off.
Uh-oh, slow cars. Now you got Cody Ware there. You got Cole Custer on the bottom. And Cody Ware right there, just in front of this battle for third place. Where are they going to go?
Well, those are opportunities if you can time it right. And that's exactly what Blaney tried to
Oh,
do.
boy.
Now he's in trouble. Now he's stuck back there behind not only Cody Ware, but Bowman with a blown engine. Those guys come in, Kevin, they were 2.5 tenths faster than Gibbs, running that outside. As soon as he dropped them on the bottom, match their lap times.
And those two wide, slower cars brought William Byron into that battle as well. Regan.
Well, Mike, one of the top was April William Byron in the 2014. The car just being patchy on tires the majority of the day, but they've made good adjustments. So far this run, he's been quiet on the radio, hasn't said anything to the team, but up 20 spots from where he started in 26, a very good day.
Yeah.
Very much so. Beautiful Sunday at Bristol Motor Speedway. And pre-race, we remember the loss of Shiggy Hattori, IndyCar racer and champion truck owner Al Pierce, who covered 56 Daytona 500s, many of those following, and Henrik Motorsports publicist John Edwards, all of whom passed away this week. In their memory, how about a NASCAR on Fox? Bristol, rank it up. .62 laps to go. We're riding with Kyle Busch. He's in 15th place, 10 seconds back of the leader as you watch from the Cheddar's onboard cam. Kyle did a nice job of rebounding from that speeding penalty back at the end of stage one at lap 125 to get himself into the top 15 here. Battle for fourth is still the good one there on the bottom, Carson Hocevar. And on the top, Ryan Blaney behind the 54 of Ty Gibbs in third. So instead of showing you car commercials, we're going to stay right here for commercial-free racing from Bristol And we're going to go Toyota all out. Jamie?
We're talking a lot about time things today so far. It's been a rough start to the season, but finally they turned that page last week to be their first top 10 finish. When they come here to Bristol, they back it up with their best qualifying effort of the year. On Centra, talked to Tyler Allen and Drew Ritchie, who Sherry said, getting the top 10 was a huge relief for this team. Because knowing we could do it and seeing that start. Now they come to a place that this has been one of Ty's best racetracks. They're running like we really hoped they would. Not a lot of complaints. Just reminding him, take care of those tires.
Now that he's passed those lap cars, he's got a clear view of Denny Hamlin just ahead in second, and he's closing on the 11.
Well, both of those cars are up and down the racetrack. I think as you look at the cars behind them, it'd be best for the 11 and 54 to run up the racetrack. I think they make more lap time.
Richard Bell, they're back in 7th, along with teammate Chase Briscoe right behind him.
Yeah, we saw Bell a couple runs ago kind of lose the handling of his car, lose the back of the car. Chase Briscoe's having a great day today. He's been able to, and that's what they need. They just need these solid, good, consistent days to be able to run in the top 10, get that consistency, get that notebook of the common denominators that are different from what they had last year with Martin to what Chase Briscoe wants in the car this year.
Bowman finally pulled off the track.
Todd Reddick back in 12th, that's restarting 11th. And Bubba Wallace in 18th after restarting 12th. Here's Luke Reddick as he's working through some of lap traffic.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick hasn't really been much of a factor today. We expect these racetracks where you can run up at the top of the racetrack and make lap time with all the different variables in the racetrack. We would expect more out of the 54 or 45 car than what they've been able to do today. He and the 23 ran.
Had a good shot to win at Darlington, but the car kind of fell out from under him in the closing laps there. So Denny Hamlin in second, leading among the Toyotas, with Gibbs right behind in third. Thanks to Toyota for providing us with more green flag action here from Bristol with Toyota all out. 150 laps to go. Alex Bowman has taken his car to the center of the infield. Engine issue there. He said he looked out the cylinder and apparently it would go no further. Larry, looks like the wave around cars, the cars that took that wave around back at the last caution flag and had 75 more laps on their tires than the cars that stopped. Looks like those wave around cars are starting to pit.
Yeah, Mike, they had last pitted somewhere around lap 182, 184. If they were full when they last pitted, they should be able to run to about lap 350 to 355. So we're right there right now. This is in the window. All of our leaders that pitted back on lap 258, they can go probably to lap 435, 440. So they got a ways they can run. You don't want to make a green flag pit stop here unless you have to.
Man, I mapped that out pretty well. I said about lap 350, and Larry Mack said 350 to 355. There we go. Did that all myself. Put me in as a crew chief coach. Or let me be the coach, I should say. And here comes Eric Jones to pit road. A couple of the other drivers that took the wave around are already down there or have made their pit stops. About 98 laps have been ran currently for the drivers that have not hit pit road during this stage, and they could probably stay out about another 70 laps or so from now. But if it stays green that far, then we will obviously have to pit at least one more time for the end of the race. The lack of tire fall off, I'd imagine that will be the last set of Goodyears going on the race car before the finish of this one. And honestly, considering they didn't pit during the caution for tires earlier with the yellow right in the middle of stage 2, almost directly in the middle of that second stage, and they went about 125 laps on tires back in stage 1. With 142 to go, caution comes out right now. They pretty much put their last set of tires on as well. Unless you're maybe in the back half of the field of the late caution, you'll come to pit road, but all the leaders will definitely stay out and maintain track position to try to give themselves the best shot to win the race from where they would be at. The difference between first and second right now, Larson ahead is got a 3.4 second gap on Hamlin. It was about a 4 to 4.5 second gap at one point in time. Top 5 have not changed in the running order yet for quite some time. Really, ever since Alex Bowman dropped a cylinder with his engine, that was the only change up in the top 5 for Gibbs, Hocevar, Blaney moving up a spot, as well as everybody else through the field. And as you heard on the broadcast there, Alex Bowman had pulled into the infield area, the garage area of the racetrack, and it looks like his day is going to be done. So he'll be the 3rd driver to retire from this race out of the 39 that started. Ross Chastain up 6 positions on the restart to 9th. 6 for Kyle Busch to 14th, and Keselowski up 6 to 17th are the biggest movers of the lead lap cars since the restart. No big losers outside of Bowman dropping the engine since the restart, and Todd Gillen making the unscheduled stop earlier in the stage. He's having fuel pressure issues. He's still out there on the racetrack, but 6 laps down. He was on the lead lap. Tough day for him after running top half of the field for most of the race. Lap traffic has been hurting Kyle Larson, and maybe tire management could also be helping Denny Hamlin in the 11, as the gap, what was 4.5 seconds, is down to 2 seconds between Larson and the 11. Joey Logano is the last car on the lead lap, right in front of Kyle Larson. Actually, Logano's 1 lap down in front of Larson, so he's got fresher tires, because he had already made a pit stop during this green flag run. He's about to go 2 laps down, if the 5 can get around him. Lead is under 2 seconds between Larson and Hamlin. Hamlin continues to close. I don't know how much of it, maybe the 22 is holding up the 5, or if the 5 is fading that much. So lap time, that last lap, Hamlin was only about 0.06 of a second faster. Larson not able to run the top side of the racetrack the last couple corners and trying to pass Logano. There's still about 4 lap cars in between the top 2 in the running order. Full screen commercial break on FS1 right now. We're almost midway through the final stage. Still 130 laps to go out of this 500 lap race at Bristol. Barely over 2 hours in on the elapsed time from the initial drop of the green flag to where we are currently. Lead is down to 1.7 seconds during this commercial break between Larson and Hamlin. 3.1 seconds to 4th. Ryan Blaney 3.8 seconds off the lead in 5th. William Byron 4.3 seconds back in 6th. Chase Briscoe 5.8 seconds back in 7th. Christopher Bell in 8th is 6.1 off the lead. 6.3 off the lead for Ross Chastain at 6th. Justin Haley is 8.2 seconds off the lead, still hanging out in the top 10 and 10th. We'll take a break. You're listening live on KRC to the Food City 500. Like, subscribe, comment in the chat along the way. And we'll stay right here, obviously, to the finish of the race. And just beyond that, stay tuned in the post-race as well. We'll be live for a good 20 minutes or so after the fact. Monster Jam X10, welcome to the stream. They ruined this weekend with the PJ1. I don't know about that. I don't know that they ruined it. I think everybody would be training around the top like they did with the Xfinity race had there not been any PJ1 on the bottom. So I think it has helped create maybe more of a passing lane than what we would have had otherwise. I think it's just a product of the Cup Series with the cars being so equal. And when you get later in these races, too, with the cars being equal and already having the faster cars up towards the front of the field as it is, it just makes it harder and harder to pass. We did have a pass inside the top 5. Both Carson Hocevar and Ryan Blaney got by Ty Gibbs during this commercial break. Hocevar now up to 3rd, Blaney 4th, and Gibbs falls to 5th. Gibbs was not far behind Denny Hamlin for a while, but then starting to lose him as Hamlin had closed the gap on Larson for the lead. The lead is down to 1.8 seconds. It was about 1.7 several laps ago, now 1.4. Okay, so 1.4 second difference here between Larson and Hamlin. And Larson's not anywhere close to his pit stop with where we stand right now, considering these guys can still go about 40 to 50 more laps on fuel. So he's going to have to try to ride it out there. And this is the one thing Hamlin needed because nobody had anything for Larson otherwise. And there's still a ton of lap traffic right in front of the 5 car to boot. Gibbs is starting to hold up, quite a few cars behind him, including William Byron, who's going to try to get himself in the top 5 for the first time today. No stage points today outside the top 10 in the first 2 stages, so a great come-from-behind performance here for Byron under mostly green flag condition after starting in 26. He's literally had to scratch and claw his way to get up to where he's at right now. Unloaded very slow this weekend as well. He was 35th overall in practice yesterday afternoon. Nathan Urich also welcome to the stream. I don't think I shouted you out throughout the course of this. I did end the chat poll a while back at the end of stage 2. 50% of the votes out of 122 took Kyle Larson for the win today. Well, he's dominated. He's still leading. He's had the fastest lap of the race. He won the first 2 stages, but he's barely holding off Denny Hamlin now. He's only 0.8 of a second off the race lead, with still 118 to go and at least one more pit stop, probably only one more pit stop for tires and or fuel the rest of the way. That would be whether we stay green or have a caution at this rate. Had some drivers pit under green. Christopher Bell is on pit road right now, trying to short pit and gain track position from around the back half of the top 10. I think he was 9th or 10th at the time of him pitting. And we'll have to wait and see if more cars inside the top 10 will pit as well. It's a risk. It is definitely a risk. Caution comes out. He's going to get trapped probably 2 laps down. One second now between Larson and Hamlin. Hi, Gibbs to pit road.
Do something different. There's no way that you're going to beat him with the track position that he has, and that's him, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that outside of the strategy is maybe they saw something with their tires where they didn't feel comfortable running any further. As that is 2 cars from the same team, so hard to tell without all the facts. But those are a couple of the things that it could be.
All right.
Considering that they were starting to drop backwards a bit, Gibbs lost a couple spots. Bell was in the top 5 in the last restart. He comes to pit road. Oh boy, he almost made contact to 41 coming off of his pit lane. Denny Hamlin from 2nd place is going to pit. He was 1 second off the lead of Larson. That will bring Larson in. He doesn't want to lose too much time to Hamlin on the fresh tires. Here we go.
Tires here.
Kyle Larson, William, Jamie?
Tense moment here.
They kept him down. He's been happy. They never took me out to what he needed. So it's not much. He's been happy with it. Obviously, he's still getting Twitter. It's not that lead as they work the left side here.
Larson Hocevar picks up the lead. There's Chase Briscoe in, and Ross Chastain from 4th place.
Very nerve-wracking up on that Kyle Larson team right now. This is the only thing that can knock us out of this thing. Be careful here. Make no mistakes.
Yeah, don't want to speed.
Make sure that caution doesn't come out.
Very good.
And you see Carson Hocevar on the right side of the screen as they had trouble with the left.
Oh no, they dropped the jack too soon.
Bit too tight and a long pit stop here.
That's a costly error in a great race car.
Well, that's what it comes down to. You have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's on a week-to-week basis and on the money stop right here. But I think a lot of these guys are pitting right now because it's 4 to 5 tenths of a second a lap. And if you hang out like William Blackburn did last week and you lose the lead and lose that track position, you just get behind.
Chase Elliott in, along with both the Childress cars, Childress full-time cars. Dylan and Kyle Busch, a little long stop on the left side. For Busch, Josh Berry is in. Justin Haley coming to pit road.
Well, you see the difference there, about a half a track advantage to your leader as we see it right now, Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and as we
lap
we
and a
look at
half.
That last pit stop right there, I mean, we see some really fast laps from some of those guys coming out of the pits. Chase Briscoe ran his fastest lap. Ty Gibbs ran his fastest lap. So this racetrack has some speed in it. And those new tires do have a speed advantage right out of the gate.
So Larson comes back on track in 7th, Hamlin in 8th. If the caution flew right now, there would be 3 cars on the lead lap. Blaney, Reddick, and Wallace. Keselowski just went a lap down, along with his teammate Ryan Preece. Stenhouse, then Larson and Hamlin.
That's what you're hoping for, right? If you're staying out now, you're in a deficit on lap times, you're praying for a caution, Larry. That's the only thing they can do now. And you've kind of made your bed. You need to run it long now.
So Larson, after leading 350, but now 398 laps, trying to work back from 7th place back on the lead lap and to the lead once again.
Yeah, you see Kyle Larson going by Jesse Love right there. He's 6 laps down, making his Cup Series debut today. So welcome to Bristol and Cup racing, Cliff.
Yeah, and a long green flag runs, right? This race could have drastically been different. I don't want to knock him for being 6 laps down.
No, not at all.
Extremely challenging racetrack under very difficult circumstances and long green flag runs and lap traffic and everything else. And I'm learning.
I've kept an eye on him, Clint, and he's been very respectful of lead lap cars, getting either up and out of the way or down and out of the way, depending on what line the car is trying to lap length running.
Which also slows you down a little bit, right? So maybe 1 or 2 of those laps probably aren't necessarily legit as far as lap times. I don't want to take away, but
to Mike's accomplished today. Yeah, but to Mike's point, it's just he's very aware of his scenario.
That's what he has to do. His goal today was to finish all the laps, complete this race.
Tyler Reddick, one of those cars, he and Bubba Wallace that we just showed, 2 of those cars that are out there hoping for that caution.
That gap's getting smaller. Not at half the track anymore.
Well, it's about 12, almost 13 seconds first to second. Reddick and Wallace, the 223-11 cars, pretty close together. So these 3 plus Ryan Preece, which are the cars that have not stopped. Larry, how long can these leaders go?
As long as they were full when they pitted at lap 258, they can go about lap 440, which is another 30, 35 laps from that.
Well, that's the plan. That's what we're doing. Hoping for a caution. Can it happen? We've seen crazier things at Bristol. 23 in the wall again. Eric Jones slowed down the front straightaway.
He's up way high as you watch from the onboard in turn 2, letting traffic by.
He was in the wall all the way around there, guys.
If he wanted to pit, he had no chance to do so on that lap, but he's staying high on the racetrack, so well, apparently he's okay to continue.
And you see him running right up against that dark, and a lot of times when
Probably got himself in the marbles.
Sometimes you slip, and we talked about those marbles earlier. They're right on the top of that black rubber line right there, and you get up in those, and it sucks you right in.
And it was almost the caution that this guy right here was looking for.
So, Larry, the strategy of Brian Blaney and 2311, Reddick and Wallace with the long run. I guess if you do the same thing as Kyle Larson and he's the fastest car, you're not going to beat Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I would have definitely done something totally different than the 5 and the 11 and the 54. That's exactly what these 3 or 4 teams are doing. But they need a caution.
Yeah, and that's the only part that I don't like about it. You know, you're trying to do something different for sure, but when you get so far behind, then you're going to cost yourself who knows how many positions as you run this long.
Yeah, Blaney was in 4th, so it wasn't like he was having a bad day.
So Larson has gotten past Ryan Preece, and Bubba Wallace is going to go a lap down here, perhaps to Blaney, and that put Wallace in the pretty fast position.
Denny Hamlin's run this Larson down too. Keep an eye on that as they're trying to run down your leader Blaney. Denny's caught him. There was a huge difference between
Larson looks free.
Not so much anymore.
Larson's car looks very loose right now.
Larson about 0.2 of a second a lap quicker than Blaney over the last few.
And he's got a lot of lap traffic on top of it.
Wallace didn't give Blaney a whole lot of room there. Trying not to go 1 lap down. So that will leave just Blaney and Tyler Reddick on the lead lap right now. There's a couple of cars, Custer and, or rather, Ware and Van Gisbergen limp on the
3 wide.
3 wide.
No, boy.
In the middle, leader up top.
Always looks sketchy here.
This is going to put Allmendinger 2 laps down.
Oh, boy. Larson up the middle.
Not for the lead right now, but for 4th and 5th place of the cars that have pitted.
Larry, how did you catch him? He was almost a half a track ahead of that 11. How did Denny Hamlin win Darlington? Half a second faster pit stop than the 5. There you have it. Thank you, boys. Team effort.
Well, we heard Denny Hamlin talk during the pre-race about his mental strategy of how he approaches each run and breaks these races up into segments and approaches them 1 or 2 spots at a time, 1 pit stop at a time. And that's what you see when you get to the end of these races of guys like Hamlin that have that experience of being able to mentally keep themselves in each chunk of the race. So these 2 guys, they're going to go at it again. We knew both of them were really good here at Bristol, but 1-2 here again, getting close to the end of this race.
Now here's a heartbreaker. We're riding with Ryan Preece. A moment ago, we were riding with Carson Hocevar. Hocevar is as fast as Hamlin. He's keeping right pace with the number 11, but he had a 22-second pit stop, and that's why Hocevar is a lap down, and Blaney is trying to race his way, or excuse me, Hamlin trying to race his way to the lead. Here is the stop for the 77, and you'll see the trouble when they come around the left side. And it comes off the tail.
Dang.
That's why Carson Hocevar is 2 laps down, trying to get back up to 1 down, and Hamlin is 1 down, trying to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, and a lot of times, as you see Ryan Blaney running down Tyler Reddick right here, but a lot of times when you run as good as Carson Hocevar has run today and you get that pressure ramped up, it starts to poke holes in things that, haven't been addressed or haven't been able to be a part of a competitive situation like that in the past. So a lot of pressure on those guys.
When he passes him, that'll be only 1 car in the lead lap.
Pretty good.
Like just out there, 12 car Ryan Blaney. Over the past 25 laps, I've seen his crew guys get on the wall 3 or 4 different times like they were about to come to pit road. As of right now, they have kind of stepped back. They put the fuel cans actually in the holder that holds them when they're not planning on the pit. So I don't know what's going on here, but they don't look like they're ready to come anytime soon.
Well, he's only about 0.2 of a second a lap slower than Kyle Larson, even though his tires are, 140 laps older.
And Preece is giving Larson fits right here. You're watching it. But going back to the 12 car Blaney, he's having trouble with Reddick. Reddick's taking that exit away from him and slowing him down. So both of those cars need to go. Blaney's going to be in trouble. Needs to get around this 45 so he can get that exit back and get his lap times going.
Well, no surprise. Ryan Blaney has the best long run speed driver rating of all drivers through 2025 so far.
Yeah, and we watch it week after week. I mean, he's the one that can get through traffic the best. Typically, that long run speed is always there. They've just had so many things go wrong, whether it be blown engines or pit stops or wrecks or whatever it has been. It has fit this 12 car, but
and as soon as he passed that 45, went right back, got me a 1598. Larson coming on those tires only a 1595. Good lap times out of the 12 car and old tires. Larry, what do you got?
Right now, though, if the caution comes out in the next 10 to 15 laps and Blaney's not pitted, he's got the whole field a lap down. Yeah, Tyler Reddick would get the free pass. Everybody else would be forced to take the waiver round and have to stay out.
Jeez.
Work out for this 12. What a repay after the week he had last weekend, a heartbreaker at Darlington. He had that, what do you have to lead for about 0.2 of a second?
It wasn't long. So if the caution came out, Blaney would pit, he'd get fresh tires. Everyone else would wave around. They'd right start, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, right next to him. They'd just be on worn tires.
That's right. Yeah, when you take the wave around, you cannot hit and take fresh tires. You can go around the pace car, but you cannot come to pit road.
68 laps to go. Ryan Blaney on a lap by himself, Reddick, just having been lapped, comes to pit road. How long can the 12 stay out? You'll see it all as we go back side by side.
Well, I don't expect it to be very long for Ryan Blaney before he hits pit road, but Kyle Larson is up to second now with Reddick hitting the pits. Larson is about to unlap himself on the 12 car very shortly here as well. Denny Hamlin not that far behind the 5, but the 5 did open his gap up just a bit on the 11, while it seemed like the 60 of Ryan Preece, although he was battling Kyle Larson, was able to battle the 11 of Hamlin and get by him. I would imagine Preece is on fresher tires, which is the reason for that. So, again, Ryan Blaney out in front, Kyle Larson in second, Denny Hamlin third, Bubba Wallace fourth, Ty Gibbs in fifth. Wall still has to hit pit road. Same for Blaney. Everybody else has already made a green flag pit stop in the final stage. They're good on fuel, good on tires to the end. Silent Owl Scribe, welcome to the stream. Robert Goodrich, welcome to the stream. John Barber, welcome in. Newcomers in the chat here recently. We'll take another break. You're listening live on KRC. Food City 500 at Bristol, just over 60 laps to go. Yeah, there's PJ1 on the bottom groove of the racetrack. They reapplied it this morning, I believe, after all the racing we had seen before that this weekend. Ryan Blaney finally coming into the pits with 61 laps to go. Can't go any further on fuel. Now, he was in 4th place. I'm curious to see where he cycles. If he's the only car in the lead lap, this will give the lead back to Larson here in another lap. And now it's between Larson and Hamlin again, with Larson extending his gap slightly over the 11. Interval-wise, I'm not sure the difference between the two, but the gap is definitely wider now than it was at the start of the tire stint that they are currently on after both cars had left pit road. Looks like about 9/10 of a second, is the gap. So your top 5 in the interval between them, Larson in the lead, 9/10 ahead of Denny Hamlin. Ty Gibbs is 6.6 seconds back in 3rd. Chase Briscoe 7.7 seconds off the lead in 4th. William Byron 9.6 seconds off the lead in 5th. And Blaney, who again was 4th before the pit stop started, only lost 5 positions, staying out as long as he did in 9th. There are only 10 cars on the lead lap as we stand right now as well. We've had 4 lead changes today, most of which during green flag pit stops. Bowman, Larson on the track. Larson has led damn near every lap, really. 352. Can still lead up over 400. He's not going to lead as many as he did last fall, which was 362. Bowman leading 5 more laps than he did in the fall race from the pole last season. And then Blaney obviously staying out of the pits as long as he did with how this final stage has gone on, which so far has been caution-free, has also led to that. Carson Hocevar at 11th is the first car 1 lap down, and he was in the 3rd place position, 5th place actually, right behind Blaney, but had the slow stop. Car fell off the jack on the left side. The left rear tire was not on. Had to rejack the car up. It was a 22-second pit stop for Carson Hocevar. Denny Hamlin starting to cut the lead back down on Kyle Larson yet again. More heavy lap traffic in front of the 5, and the lead is now just about a half a second between the 5 and the 11. Double wide traffic, nowhere to go for Larson. Blaney not that far ahead of all this mess. I mean, all 3 lanes are taken up, top, bottom, middle. This is definitely an opportunity for Denny Hamlin to pounce with 51 laps to go.
You know, streets in Long Beach today. On Fox after we're done.
But you see Denny Hamlin hanging around right there behind Kyle Larson, and Kyle Larson has a gaggle of cars right in front of him.
Yes, he does.
Wow.
Look at this.
That's about as heavy as the lap traffic has been all day.
Everybody trying to keep them going lapped out.
And how many times have we seen Ryan Preece about to be lapped or just have been lapped?
And look how that 11 car comes right back into the picture when he gets stuck in this traffic jam. It ain't over. Denny Hamlin trying for 3 in a row. Kyle Larson trying to break that up after leading 362 laps so far. Pretty dominating performance.
I tell you what, you get that thing in clean air, and that hot car is there rocket shit.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker for his teammate. Credit to where credit's due. That 48 car, they brought Alex Bowman a fast car, sat on the pole, engine expired, but they knew they were there. Kyle Larson has now led back-to-back races at Bristol, and he's led the most laps since this man, Hall of Famer Cale Yarborough, led 868 laps in back-to-back races at Bristol 1976 to 77.
That's a stat drop right there.
One interesting thing looking here that you guys just pointed out is this fastest lap right here on AJ Allmendinger. He's been able to put himself in that position to get that point. And we talk about, as we watch Kyle Larson right there, we talk about 1 point. You're thinking, that's not that big a deal. But Kyle Larson lost the regular season championship last year by 1 point. Every point matters, Clint, as much as you don't want to hear that.
Oh, you preach to me every year, starting at the duels in Daytona. Man, Reddick down a lap after that stop, battling Allmendinger, who is on the lead lap in 9th place. He's the last car on the lead lap.
In the last few years, the dominance, especially today, 368 laps, sit there and watch the Larson car dominate this race. And he's only 1,700 laps led. You look at Cale Yarborough in the 4,000 range. Unbelievable what those guys accomplished back in the day.
Well, you can talk about, as we go back on board with Ty Gibbs here, is he's on the bottom of the racetrack, running third.
And Gibbs has closed in a little over a second from where he was, 6.5 seconds off the lead after leaving pit road. Also, 40 laps to go here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll go through the full field running order. Kyle Larson leads, 0.7 of a second ahead of Denny Hamlin still, 5.3 seconds ahead of Ty Gibbs in third, and Chase Briscoe is up to fourth, 6.1 seconds off the lead. William Byron in fifth. Ryan Blaney up a few spots to sixth after he had pitted later in the run. Ross Chastain is seventh now, Christopher Bell eighth, AJ Allmendinger ninth, Austin Dillon first car lap down in 10th. Carson Hocevar's in 11th, Justin Haley 12th, Josh Berry 13th, Kyle Busch 14th, and Chase Elliott 15th. 16th for Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski 17th, Tyler Reddick 18th, John Hunter Nemechek 19th, and Bubba Wallace in 20th. Ryan Preece 21st, Chris Buescher 22nd, 23rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Noah Gragson 24th, Joey Logano 25th, and Eric Jones in 26th. Zane Smith 27th, Ty Dillon 28th, Riley Herbst 29th, and Cole Custer is 30th. Michael McDowell 31st, Jesse Love 32nd, 33rd for Daniel Suarez, Corey LaJoie 34th, and Todd Gillen 35th. Cody Ware 36th, 3 cars out of the race, Alex Bowman in 37th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 38th, and Josh Berry 39th. Josh Bilicki, not Josh Berry, excuse me. Wrong Josh. Josh Bilicki in 39th place in the 66. So that will be the running order. Now we're down to 35 laps to go at the line, and Larson has extended his lead to about a second yet again over Denny Hamlin. It was a half a second just a few laps ago, so I'm not sure what happened to Hamlin. I don't know if he had just a big slip up on one lap in particular. Larson around the outside of a couple Toyotas. Bubba Wallace going another lap down. Same for John Hunter Nemechek. Yeah, 1.1 second difference. Larson's had the rocket ship. Best car on the racetrack right now. Side-by-side commercial break on Fox Sports 1. Late going here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Ryan Blaney's been the quickest car on track with those fresher tires. That's why he was able to go from 9th to 6th. He might end up getting back to 4th, which is where he was running prior to the pit stop. So if he does that, then I guess it was worth the gamble because he didn't lose any positions, net loss. He would only be 3.5 seconds behind Briscoe with still 31 laps to go. And he's within 2 seconds of William Byron for 5th. Big gap between Hamlin and Gibbs for second place. I think the big thing here for Denny, well, there's probably not going to be another pit stop. I was going to say if you want to Try to get by as many lap cars, keep as few as possible between yourself and the 5, but I don't think we're going to see anybody hit pit road. Even with very few cars on the lead lap right now, 9 of them. Yeah, 9 cars on the lead lap. I don't think we're really going to see anybody pit. Maybe the last couple. And they would only have, well, I guess most of the cars. I was thinking of one Blaney pitted, because Blaney pitted with 61 to go. And I think he's got about 60 to 70 lap fresher tires than everybody else. So I guess it would be close to about 100 lap fresher tires. I still don't think it's going to make that much of a difference because the lap time fall off, depending on where they were in traffic. Blaney was on the older tires. He was making pretty good lap time. He's only a couple tenths of lap slower than the leaders. And that's not going to make a huge difference on a restart, especially with everybody bottlenecked together to be able to gain a lot of spots. Tyler Reddick in the 45, last car in front of Kyle Larson right now. Well, if he gets in the way of Larson enough, if Kyle can't get around Tyler Reddick, that could allow Denny Hamlin to close in, fellow Toyota. You got to figure Reddick's on fresher tires too, because he was one of the last cars to hit the pit, so it definitely won't be an easy pass for Larson. That might be the last chance Denny Hamlin would have under green to catch the 5. Next Cup race won't be for a couple weeks at Talladega. Reddick staying to the bottom and out of the way. Respectful. Larson gets by. Well, I guess a restart's the only thing you can hope for now if you're Denny Hamlin. But even the restarts have been great for Kyle Larson all day. He lost the lead to the car on the bottom yesterday in the Xfinity race once to Justin Allgaier. At the beginning of stage 3, that would have been when everybody was on fresh tires at that point. We haven't had a restart with this many laps on tires. So maybe that could be the difference maker. Hamlin back to within a second of the lead with 20 to go. Couple tenths gained in the last several laps. Still quite a few lap cars though between the 5 and the 11, so most of that might have been just the 5 getting by a few extra cars. Austin Cindric in the 2 is the next car that is about to be passed by Larson. Larson's been working the bottom of the racetrack. Hamlin's been up on the outside the last couple laps when Larson's been on the bottom. Larson taking the clean air. Hamlin even in the dirty air just running the top. Again, very, very minimal gains, and for the most part, they're just kind of trading lap times back and forth. That fastest lap from AJ Allmendinger that they mentioned on the broadcast not that long ago was on lap 396 after he had hit pit road during green flag conditions. Our underdog of the race award may be going to AJ. I would say probably Ty Gibbs based on how his season's gone so far. I know he's in a JGR car, but maybe Gibbs would be the underdog of the race award with a third place run so far. It'd be the second career top 5 for Gibbs. And it would be his, at Bristol specifically, it'd be his third top 10 at Bristol in the last 4 races here. Considering there's only 9 cars on the lead lap, he's guaranteed a top 10 even with a restart as long as he doesn't get involved in the crash or any sort of mechanical issue that would drop him out of the race. Blaney has caught Byron. He battles him for 5th currently. Still 2.5 off of Briscoe and about 2.5 seconds off of Gibbs for 3rd with 14 laps to go on those 60 to 70 lap fresher tires. This interval between himself and Larson, the leader, is about 9 seconds. Hamlin now 1.6 seconds back and still falling at the hands of Larson, who has dominated and again will go on to lead over 400 laps if this stays green to the end. Ethan Chua, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Bowman's been out for a while. Engine failure for the 48 after he was in the top 3 all day long leading up to the early going to stage 3 where the engine failure had taken place. Out of the race and 37th place, unfortunately, for Alex Bowman here today. 11 to go. for Kyle Larson. Well, the two favorites have been 1-2 for most of this race. But Larson has been the better of the two between himself and Hamlin. Car, driver, whatever it may be. Tough to beat the fastest car when the fastest car's been in the lead the entire time. Just like it was last fall for Kyle Larson at Bristol. It's be his third win at the racetrack since 2021. Both Hamlin and Larson each have 2 wins here of the last 4 Cup Series points-paying races at Bristol. Oh, Larson up the track! Oh my goodness, I think he got up in the marbles. He scraped the wall right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Oh my gosh. He's trying to put Keselowski a lap down. He just got up out of the groove. He's still a second and a half ahead of Hamlin. Oh, man. That could have been way worse than it was. That'll give you a lot of Kyle Larson fans out there some heart palpitations. And that was sketchy when it probably didn't need to be. He's still going for it, as Kyle Larson would. Finally gets by Keselowski. He didn't have to desperately pass him. He was still putting time on Hamlin. Even after getting up in the marbles, he is still putting time on him. He just lost a couple tenths for 1 lap. He very, very lightly scraped the wall. He's lucky when he got against the wall that he didn't stay glued to it like we saw from Eric Jones earlier in the race when he got up in the marbles. He was glued to the wall all the way through the corner until he got to the exit, got passed by several cars. Then Hamlin would have been right back in the mix again. He's also lucky he didn't hit it in a weird spot and bend a toe link or something of that nature. We haven't seen any of those breaks so far today. 2 laps to go for Larson. Still a 2-second lead over Denny Hamlin. Ty Gibbs and Chase Briscoe battling for third in the closing laps of this race. Blaney did pass Byron for 5th. Final lap for Larson as he exits turn 2. And now on the other side here through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag is waving. Domination again at Bristol. This time in the spring, Kyle Larson is a winner. 2nd time this season. And the 2nd time in 4 races. Larson doubling down, winning Xfinity yesterday. Leading all but 33 laps. All but just under 100 out of 500 today at Bristol in the Cup race. A 2nd in the truck. Believe it or not, he had a better average finish this weekend than he did at Homestead, which was pretty good when he ran triple duty just a few weeks back. Maybe he needs to start running truck and Xfinity more often because he's won the Cup race. Both times this year he's done triple duty. That one counts for the big bucks at the end of the season. And on a week-to-week basis, for that matter. 31st win for Larson at Hendrick Motorsports. I should say in his career. Most of those coming at Hendrick Motorsports. Denny Hamlin going to bring it home in 2nd. A margin of victory, 2.2 seconds for Larson over Hamlin. Ty Gibbs finishes 3rd. Chase Briscoe 4th. And Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 5 in 5th. William Byron finishes 6th, 7th for Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell 8th, AJ Allmendinger 9th, and Austin Dillon rounds out the top 10. Carson Hocevar 11th, Josh Berry 12th, 13th Justin Haley, Kyle Busch 14th, Chase Elliott 15th, 16th for Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric 17th, Tyler Reddick 18th, Bubba Wallace 19th, and Ryan Preece 20th. 21st for John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 22nd, Noah Gragson 23rd, Joey Logano 24th, Chris Buescher 25th, Eric Jones 26th, Zane Smith 27th, Riley Herbst 28th, Cole Custer 29th, and Michael McDowell 30th. Jesse Love 31st, Ty Dillon 32nd, Daniel Suarez 33rd, Corey LaJoie 34th, Todd Gillen 35th, Cody Ware 36th, And again, 3 cars DNF'd. Alex Bowman, 37, Shane Van Gisbergen, 38th, and Josh Balicki, 39th. Only 9 cars finished on the lead lap. 4 lead changes, 3 cautions, only 1 for incident, middle of stage 2. Caution free in stage 1 and stage 3. We finish under a regulation length of 500 laps. 2 hours, 38 minutes, 43 seconds. That's got to be one of the quickest Bristol races of all time with only the 3 yellows. 40 laps spent under caution. And another emotional victory for Hendrick Motorsports 2 days in a row here at Bristol. Kyle Larson with the race win. And here he is.
I've had a tough career of Kyle Larson. It was John Edwards who was put in place, not just to do publicity, but to help Larson and guide him and help rebuild his image. And now he is a champion and truly a big star of this sport. And a lot of that credit must go to John Edwards.
Well, arguably the biggest star in the sport right now. I think when you look at Kyle Larson and what he's been able to do here on Sundays and Saturdays and Fridays and during the week at his high limits sprint car series and everything that he races, dirt late model cars,
8,500 coming up.
8,500 coming up. He's just so known by all the race fans all over the world.
And Jamie Little is with him.
Kyle Larson gets the helmet off, and Kyle, what a dominant performance. You won 2 of the 3 races this weekend, but I just heard you say on the radio, we did this one for John. What did John mean to you, Kyle?
Yeah, no, this one's definitely for John. He's just a great guy here. So we're going to miss him, but successful weekend here. Wish he was going to be here with us to celebrate, but I know he's celebrating with us in spirit. So, yeah, just a flawless race once again here at Bristol for the 5 team. Really, really good car. That was a lot of fun. You know, however many laps of green we ran there was a lot of fun. And I was pretty comfortable with things. And then Denny came on really strong there before the pit cycle. And then, yeah, just kind of kept the pressure on from there. So I knew I had to make some good moves in traffic. Felt like I did a pretty good job there in traffic. Split the middle sometimes when I needed to. So, yeah, just a lot of fun. A little bit out of breath. It's just so high paced here, and heart rate's up. So, really cool. Thanks to HinderCars.com, Chevy, Prime, Valvoline, this whole team. You know, the pit crew, this is their first win with the 5 teams. So, it's going to be fun celebrating with them. And, yeah, just good to be back at Victory Lane.
Cliff Daniels, your crew chief, told me we're gonna have to play in the moment. We don't know what to expect today. Kyle, this was not the race we all expected. What from your perspective? I mean, at what point did you realize this is not going to be a tire conservation race?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, early on, yeah, we were all kind of just riding in line like we did in the spring last year, and I was just trying to keep an eye on the track, and I felt like, you know, it was starting to get a little bit darker on exit, so I was like, all right, I mean, some rubber's laying down. And then people kind of got the middle working, and then we get back down. So I was like, screw it, I'm just going to go to the lead here and pick the pace up, and maybe the pace will help lay the rubber down even more. And it did, and it turned into a normal Bristol track there for us. So really played in our favor. Obviously, having the track position helps a lot. You know, if Vinny's in front of me, it could be a totally different story and be really hard to pass him. But glad to stop his three-peat. We hate to see him win, so as I'm sure you guys do too. It's just good to be back here at Victory Lane.
Good to see Kyle Larson get the win, and he does it for John Edwards.
Thanks, Jamie. Is this the budding Petty Pearson rivalry of this century?
Let's calm down, Mike Joy.
These two were 1-2 for 251 of 500 laps today. They have finished 1-2 7 times, with Hamlin winning 6 and Larson winning today. Regan.
Well,
yeah, I don't know that that's anywhere near Petty Pearson.
I just gave a stat that you and Kyle Larson have finished 1-2 7 times. This is the first time he's come out on top, though. I know you won that 3rd straight, but a good day nonetheless.
Yeah, we really did, but you got to give that team their due, and Kyle his due. Yeah, they just a dominant performance, and yeah, looked like you know, pretty flawless day for him. So it looked pretty easy. That was all I had to try to keep up there. You know, glad we were able to give him a little bit of a run with our progressive Toyota, but you know, this weekend we're all thinking about John Edwards' family, Al Pierce, Shiggy Tori. You know, we've lost a lot of great people in our sport over this past week, so our thoughts are with them, and yeah, I wish we could have got one more spot, but I just wanted to keep him honest there at the end. That's all I tried to do. But he just was too much to handle.
This 11 car, a lot of speed every week right now, a lot of momentum going into the off week. How nice is that to go into the one off week you guys get this year, knowing how strong it's been?
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a great run here over the last month. We've been really good. Just got to continue this momentum, and it all starts tomorrow. You go back to work and you figure out how you can get just a little bit better.
Enjoy the off week. Thanks, Danny.
Thanks, Regan. Jeff Gordon among those celebrating as the Hendrick team races with heavy hearts this.
If we get any more interviews before FS1 goes off the air with the NASCAR coverage, then we will pass that along to you. As for now, we continue on with our post-race. Went through the finishing order of the race statistics. Again, Kyle Larson, your race winner. And I want to see the exact number there was what? 411. 411 laps led. Ryan Blaney led for 48 during green flag pit stops. Alex Bowman led the first 39. And that was it. Those are the only drivers that led today. 4 lead changes in total with those 3 cautions. And again, 40 laps ran under yellow. Margin of victory 2.2 seconds. Only 9 cars finished on the lead lap. Our pre-race prediction, I took Denny Hamlin for the win. He does finish second. Average finish still looking good this year for the race win picks. That continues to get better and better after taking Logano to win the 500. He finished 35th. That was in a deep hole. I think it was just under a 10.0 this week, coming in 9 point something into the week on the average finish for the race win pick this year. So second will help that. Only 1 race win pick, though, for the Cup Series so far, and that was when I took Larson at Homestead. Oddly enough, Larson the winner again here today. Started in the 3rd place position. And again, 411 to 500 laps led. Hamlin and Larson were both on the must-have picks. The only must-have you don't see up there is Alex Bowman, who was top 3 all race. Had an engine failure, unfortunately, ended up 37. So 2 for 3 on that side of things with the pre-race predictions. Ty Gibbs, one of our sleepers, finishes 3rd. Here he is with Regan Smith.
Thanks. Running the top 5 all day long has to feel good.
Yeah, it's definitely really nice. We had a really good team day, so we're really happy to have that. It's been pretty chaotic start to our year, so I think we're back where we're going to run it. But really excited for the future and to get back racing after this off weekend, and I think we're really capable of winning this year. So we have what we could do and still have a fun time. So thank you to Toyota, Monster Energy, and SIOP.
You mentioned that chaotic start to the season. How tough is it as a driver when things aren't necessarily going your way, but you have had speed at times to keep your head down and keep focused and know that this is going to come?
Yeah, we've got great guys around me. I know we're capable of running really well, as we've seen. So, I don't think I'd worry about it at all too much. But thank you to Monster Energy, thank you to Mitch Covington, David Gallons, Rodney, and everybody. I appreciate them and LDN, and excited for the future.
All right, nice run today. Thanks, Jamie.
Great run for Chase Briscoe as well. Brings it home 4th, your 4th top 10 this season. What a rebound after last week, Chase, which, as your crew chief called a disaster. How good does this one feel with this team?
Yeah, it's nice. Whenever you have a run like last week, it can go 2 different ways. You can either just, dwell on it or you can just move on from it. And proud of our, Bass Pro Shop Toyota team to be able to move on from it and come here and just, put it in the rear view, right? So that was a good solid day for us. That's what we needed to do. To just have a clean, solid day and have a good finish. That's what we had. Just need a little bit more to be able to be up there and be, battling for the win. But overall, definitely nice to have some momentum going into the off week.
Chase, coming into this race, everybody just knew we were going to see a repeat of last spring. It was going to be tire management. As a driver, what is that switch in your mind like when this race was completely different?
Yeah, I told James before the race, I said, I really don't think it's going to do it. But you couldn't just go hard and then risk the opportunity that it was going to all fall apart, right? So it was a very unique start to the race, just how everybody was going super easy. Then you'd have a couple guys start picking up the pace, then we all would. And then let's say around lap 50 or 60, you just started running hard, and obviously it lasted. So, yeah, I don't know what the light switch is that determines if we have that or don't have that. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to say the least.
Well done. Enjoy the weekend off with the family.
Appreciate it.
Chris?
Thank you, Jamie. And you saw there as Kyle Larson. First of all, he had trouble.
Well, you heard from one of the sleeper finishers to get a top 10, Ty Gibbs. The other 2, unfortunately, did not. Josh Berry, just outside the top 10, finished a lap down in 12th. Ran pretty much right around there most of the day. It's also around where he qualified. And then, unfortunately, we had Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who started on the front row, was top 10 at the end of stage 1, fell behind on that pit strategy, and really never got back in the top 15, fell behind even more during that long final run in Stage 3. By the way, that final green flag run over 230 laps with Stage 3 going caution-free. So you can definitely tell these guys are going to be a little tired in the morning. That's got to exhaust you at a track like Bristol. As far as the don't have picks for today to finish outside the top 10, two of them actually did get top 10 finishes. Ross Chastain and William Byron finished 6th and 7th. They were very slow coming into the weekend outside the top 30 in practice, but they got their cars better as the race went on. Long haul, especially with mostly green flag racing, for them to be able to do that. So great performance by those two teams on race day specifically, where they were able to capitalize on just getting the car better overall. The other don't have pick did end up finishing outside the top 10 based on the pre-race predictions. Got to go back in. Tyler Reddick in the 45 car finished 2 laps down in 18th. So overall on the prediction side of things, just over 50% clip this weekend. Not bad. Not as bad as the fantasy team, as we'll take a look at that in a moment. But here first is the 5th place finisher, Ryan Blaney.
Out long, had to run long, and it actually worked out good then.
Yeah, it was a good, risk to take. Really, I thought Jonathan did a good job of taking a chance. We weren't going to win. I was already running 5th, and at the end of the day, we got back to where we were running, which was good. But yeah, took a chance in trying to get a yellow and trapping a bunch of guys lap down, and so really good effort. Honestly, a really good weekend by the 12 boys. I thought we got better and better from practice, which was good. Honestly, I didn't think we were very good yesterday in race trim, so they did a great job of getting us to where we need to be and getting better all day through the day. So, yeah, like you said, blue collar day. So I appreciate Menards and Richmond, Ford, Advanced Auto Parts, Dex Imaging, Body Armor, Wabash, Worth Group. Really good to kind of have a race that we finished where we should. So the last 2 weeks have been good of running where we need to run with this group, having the speed in our cars, and take a little break and look forward to getting back to it here in a couple weeks.
What's it like? You anticipate one thing today, potential tire wear, and set the cars up possibly for that, and then you have to adjust on them as you go. You mentioned how good Jonathan did with that, but how tough is that when it takes place like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's, last year in this race we adjusted it just the opposite way, from what we expected. So this race, I think you saw it. It was actually kind of funny in the first run of the race. Everyone's just poking around there, right? Like, I don't want to be the first to blow a tire. And I'm running out. I'm looking at my dash for 16.5, like way off the pace. And then each run, everyone got a little braver and a little braver. So as a driver, right, you're trying to learn, okay, can I go 10, 15% harder at the beginning of the run or the whole run and maybe have tire left? So that's always fun, as a driver, figuring that stuff out. You always have an idea in your mind of how things are going to be. But when it kind of is way different like this, it's kind of a challenge for the team and the drivers. So that's always it's always a good time.
Nice job with that challenge today, Chris. And we're back here at Victory.
Oh, we got an interview with Jeff Gordon coming up.
Rick Hendrick's right-hand man, Jeff Gordon. I do want to mention over on Fox, Long Beach Grand Prix is continuing. Kyle Kirkwood, the leader, if you want some live racing. But a lot more to cover here, and we will, as we are live on FS1. Jeff, first of all, congratulations. And I mentioned the emotion through the years that Hendrick Motorsports has dealt with, but having to channel the loss and the grief during a week of somebody important to the team. And our thoughts are with John Edwards, friends and family. But to get the most out of your driver and win a race, you could almost feel it that something good was going to happen here for you.
It's been a rough week, I'll be honest. I lost somebody who's like a brother to me and so many other people that he impacted. So the outpour, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has been sending messages, making phone calls, the tribute here on the car. And Kyle obviously was very close to John, and John did a lot for him. So you could tell he was driving with a passion out there. And I was looking at that right front fender over there. That made me a little bit nervous early in the race. But what a just dominant performance. And this one is for John. And he would not want the limelight or any of this attention. But I know how proud he'd be of this performance in this team.
What are the nerves like for you as it's closing down to the end? I mean, you've been in that position. He hit the wall with just a few laps to go. You're watching that all happen. We saw Bowman have an engine issue early. What's that like from your perspective?
You just no cautions, please. But he puts it on the edge and runs so hard. He was working traffic, and Denny, just didn't know what he had left. And the car looked like it was edgy. That last run, I saw, him working the bottom and the back, step out a couple of times. So I knew that he was working hard in there, and just was just hoping that that he's gonna be able to just sort of keep that gap, so he didn't have to push too hard and make any kind of mistakes that were forced. And when he got in the he was working hard on his last pass, and he started working a little bit too hard. And he realized I didn't need to, so I like to see him back off there.
And he's such a talented driver who goes all out, and maybe that's you don't rein in a wild horse who's got the ability to go off and race, but certainly the whole tire management was such a concern coming in, and that's something he doesn't seem to ever worry about with his success. How did you feel about how he handled that? And that really wasn't as much of an issue, I guess, in the race.
Well, he's just fun to watch, especially at a place like this. Look what he did all weekend and Friday in the truck, and yesterday in the Xfinity car, dominating when they're dominating it tonight or today. So, yeah, I mean, you have to let him be Kyle Larson and give him the car. He likes it to turn, likes it to be free, and he likes to put it on the edge. And maybe sometimes it bites him, but man, you got to take that because he makes such great moves. He's such a great, part of this race team and this whole organization. Puts wins up on the board and goes and win, battles for championships. So this is a big weekend for all of us, and very proud of that.
Yeah, you heard.
Something did over here and hand the phone in to Kyle, and he just, this one's for John, and he, it's so much emotion with this company, and he's just really proud of that. Of course, we're a little bit bummed about the 48. We got to dive into that, but the 24 drove up there and had a good finish as well. And no, he's just really happy.
Nice break. Enjoy the off week. Thanks for coming over too.
Yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Kyle Larson has led the most laps now at the quarter mark of the season as we complete this and have the off a week along.
He eclipsed that just today alone, not to mention what happened the first 7 races of the season before that. Got another post-race interview. Fox going all out with the post-race. Race going by quick, only 2.5 hours a day. William Byron, who finished 6th with Jamie Little.
The physical game of running 500 laps.
Yeah, it's just, this is the highest sense of speed place that we go. So when you're in the corner, everything's vibrating and you're trying to anticipate lap cars and you're always racing somebody. So it's it's tough. You're just running really hard. It's very difficult to pass. You basically, you try to get a couple cars per run, and if you can do that, that's a really good run. So just for us, I wish the first run could have gone a little differently. Starting 26, we just tried to save tire. Thought it was going to be that kind of race, and we just didn't really gain a lot of track position till the second stage. So kind of had to grind forward from there, but really proud of our team, and feel good about the run.
Enjoy your off week.
Thank you.
All right, so that might be the last interview we end up getting here. Last thing we have to go over is the Fantasy League. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy League, our league specifically, on the NASCAR mobile app or NASCAR.com website. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season. If you win our league championship, again, either the regular season or the playoffs will have 2 separate champs. As far as how to get there, you can see here on NASCAR.com, top of the screen, there's a fantasy tab. You'll click on that. And then there will be a live tab, which will be Fantasy Live. And you'll want to click on that as well. And that Fantasy Live will be the far left. My team suffered today because I had Kyle Larson in the garage. And if you're wondering, well, why did you have Kyle Larson in the garage? I was streaming and didn't get to my lineup soon enough, unfortunately. That hurt because he scored 60 points today. 61. 60. Yeah, he didn't have the fastest lap. He had it for a while, but then AJ Allmendinger ended up actually getting the bonus point for the fastest lap of the day. As for Kyle Larson, being in my garage, the rest of my starting 5, we had Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, who had the engine failure, unfortunately. Ty Gibbs, who had a good day, top 3. Denny Hamlin, who finished 2nd. So definitely not as good as it would have been. Definitely would have put Larson. That wouldn't have been a huge loss, all things considered there. Good news is I saved Larson. I still have 5 starts left with him this year. I took Denny Hamlin for the win, so that's why I had him over Larson in the head-to-head, 1 spot behind. Chase Elliott over Chris Buescher, got that right. Bowman had the engine failure, so he did not beat Brad Keselowski. I did have Brad. Didn't have Brad. And then Briscoe beat Blaney by 1 position as well. It's amazing how close these guys are on the head-to-head each week, because more often than not, they're within a couple positions of one another, or in this case, 2 of them within 1 position of one another. So only going to go 1 for 4 this week on the head-to-head. So I definitely did not have a good week in fantasy. Finished 15th with 177 points. Our Food City 500 winner at Bristol in the fantasy league, though, is Hercules Harrigan with 229 points, a 1-point victory over both Troy the Great and Chris Kennedy 1974, who finished in the tie for second. Fourth place was Dark Crypto at 227, 225, and fifth was Evan 4848. So it rounds out the top 5 this week. And I think I am going to lose the points lead after this weekend as well. It'll be close. Hercules Harrigan was actually second to points. I believe made up enough to take the points lead this week with my off week. So congratulations there. Long season still to go. Next Cup race isn't until Talladega, so we'll have a week off of fantasy because NASCAR Cup Series will have a week off next week. We will still be live, though. NASCAR Xfinity and NASCAR Truck Series action will be at Rockingham. And then I will actually be at Talladega and Texas Motor Speedway for those 2 Cup races the following couple weekends. So this is the last Cup Series live commentary stream for almost a month. We'll have 3 off weeks on the Cup side. We will still have practice to qualifying for the Cup Series on Saturdays. And we will still have Xfinity and Truck Series commentary those weekends as well. ARCA for the Talladega race also. So there's a lot of live commentary stuff every weekend still, but not for the Cup side for a little bit. We will have race highlight videos for the grandstands for those races. As far as today's action goes, though, that is going to wrap up today. Our start times for next weekend, we will have the truck race Friday, at 5 p.m. So again, Friday, 5 p.m. will be our next live commentary stream, Rockingham for the Truck Series. And then our Rockingham Xfinity Series race stream will be at 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So that will be our doubleheader. Easter Sunday, we will be off. And hope to see you for much more next weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening. And I'll see you back and better than ever next time. Also, hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're 1 like away from 100, which was our pre-stream goal. We're at 98 currently. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in every weekend. So, yeah, anyway, like button. We're 1 away from our goal. I might just stay here until we get the like goal because we're only 1 away. I think I have to stay here until we get the like goal. We got it yesterday in the Xfinity race. We actually doubled it because the Xfinity was 50, and we ended up getting to just over 100. So let's make sure we hit that like button. We can get to our goal, and then we'll end the stream. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content while I'm trying to stall time while we wait for that extra like. Alpine fan Wade, I don't think I shouted you guys out yet. Thanks for tuning in today, William Wiley. Many others, welcome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Tex Pat, welcome to the stream. Casey Kane's going to be at Rockingham. Yep. JB, the PA Motorsports fan 05. Thanks for watching if you're still tuned in. Somebody unliked. That's just brutal. Now we just dropped and we're further away than what we were before. Jeez. Okay, now we're back to 98 again. How does that happen? Well, we got another interview to kill here. Ross Chastain's in his street clothes already, but Regan Smith has caught up with him after he finished 7th.
I had to check my notes, though. You guys did a lot of work on this car during the day to get it good.
Yeah, Regan, that was 2 days of work, really, from unloading yesterday with our Busch Light flannel Chevy. We didn't drive terrible, just had no speed in practice, and the second group was a little odd getting going, so I didn't put a lot of stock in that, but then qualifying, we just had no grip, so it's just, I qualified last here a year ago, and then we bumped it up a few spots to 35th. It's just, we're putting ourselves way too far behind. In the past 28 cars on a primarily green day with not a lot of cautions, no real strategy to play. We hit it one time when some didn't, but it didn't do anything. So a lot of confusion for me from the tires to understand how we can go so long, but be so bad yesterday. So, yeah, excited for the off week. Qualifying will be the topic of conversation tomorrow, and then off to the farm this week and down to Florida. We're harvesting Florida watermelons and make some other pit stops on the way. But time to drink some Busch Light. I need a night or three to realize where we're at in the season and get ready for Talladega in a couple weeks.
All right. Well, enjoy that cold beverage tonight, and good job today, Chris. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Now that's going to wrap up the stream. Greatly appreciate everybody hitting that like button. We are up to 102. We did beat our goal of 100. Thank you, everybody, for hitting that like button throughout the course of the stream that did. Thank you all for watching. That did throughout the course of the stream as well. They've caught up with Kyle Larson a second time. That's how much post-race Fox has to kill with the race being short today. Again, only 2.5 hours, just over that. It's got to be the quickest Bristol race of all time. Longest post-race we probably had this season, maybe ever, as we had an extended coverage here today with the extra post-race interviews. Thanks again for watching. See you guys next weekend at Rockingham. We'll have some gaming during the week. More on that schedule tomorrow. I'll post it in the community tab. Have a good Sunday, everybody.